Attention humans, this is a Thunk tank. Please insert this podcast directly into your nearest orifice for viewing pleasure.
Okay, you ready? Oh shit.
Welcome to the Thunk tank. Welcome to the Thunk tank. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Come into our Thunk tank.
Luke, don't switch to the other peanuts.
Welcome to the Thunk tank. Come in the tank. We're thinking and we're drinking
And we're thunked.
and we're thunked.
Oh my god, I'm probably more beer than man if we go far enough back at this point.
All right, Johnny, what's up?
All right.
We
All right.
snuck on you.
Hey.
We're live.
Do you hear us all? Oh wait, we're recording?
I don't know. I just hit record.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're going.
Yep.
What's up?
Hey, welcome to the Thunk tank.
What episode is it?
It's hard to say what episode it is for a few reasons.
Well,
You don't have to.
Yeah, we
You
don't have to.
Say it.
This
Fuck
might
'em,
either be
yeah.
9 or 10, though. We have a part 2. If you listen to
oh,
our
that's right. It's
episode
split. Yeah.
while we were having a beer share, we
Classic.
encountered a few difficulties, not only with
Oh, there might not be a part 2. It
staying
turns
on
out,
the rails
yeah.
ourselves, but also the audio got kind of fucked up. So
Part
we're
2
trying-
may be a
yeah.
subscribers
Well, there'll be a
extra.
part. There'll be a part 2, but it might just be with different people.
Yeah.
Like we might have to make another part. We have to redo it.
Yeah, that's fair.
The audio got so echoey it might not even be worth listening to.
Yeah. But the important news is we're here now.
We're here. We're doing it.
We're here
What's
and
up,
we're
guys?
beer.
What are you drinking tonight?
All
What
right,
are we
so
drinking?
we have some good beer. If you listen to episode 8, you would know that I just got back from like a beer trip. Basically drove up from Georgia to New York and stopped at a bunch of breweries. So we'll announce them as we change, but currently
There's a lot of good ones tonight.
we are drinking the Double Orange Starfish by Aslan Beer Company.
Did we have this one actually
No,
last time?
no,
we didn't.
because
Yeah.
that we hadn't come that far north yet. This is
Oh,
like in Virginia.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this
Are you
is
saying Assland?
Actually, the confusing
ideally.
thing is there is an Aslan Brewing in the state of Washington, which you can easily miss Google, as I did.
or just
like-
type in Assland and get totally different.
Oh,
results.
Aslan.com is a totally different
Yeah,
thing,
that's
too.
a much different vibe. I mean, there might be beer involved, but there's probably a lot more that you weren't expecting.
There's just certain companies that there's just a bunch of, like Imperial Tile. I bet there's a dozen of those.
Right.
And
Just people want their
and not all
tile
of
to
them,
sound Roman.
but not all of them
Imperial.
may even have to do with tile.
Yeah.
Who knows what they have to do with? I haven't done the research myself, so.
So that's what me and Joe are sharing. We have a few others that we'll announce as we do it. They're all really fucking good. This is one of the better beer episodes other than last one.
We have a really nice selection tonight. I'm very excited.
What are you drinking, Johnny?
Well, I'm finishing off a beer because we took a while to get started from Hop Valley Brewing Company. Alpha Centauri Imperial IPA from Eugene, Oregon.
So the name of the
And,
beer is Alpha Centauri.
Alpha Centauri, yeah. And it's a 9% IPA.
Do,
And
do you know if they have
surprisingly not.
Do you know if they have like a
not too
Proxima
boozy.
Centauri?
I would assume
Yeah, I wonder if they have like a whole lineup of that.
they better have a milk stout called like Milky Way or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, you could do a whole thing.
My friend brought it back from Reno. He was there over the holidays, so
Was that Nevada?
Reno?
yeah.
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 This was yeah.
Well, you asked the question before, like, oh, about a beer, blah, blah, and then it's sort of like, I had a student yesterday who said, I was like, oh, like, I was in Georgia for the Georgia-Alabama game, and he was like, where is Alabama? Is that in Texas? And I was just like, what?
Checks out.
Yeah, one of those questions where it's so profoundly like wrong. Where do I start?
I started at, let's keep your trumpet in the case. We have other things to learn today.
We're gonna start with just the basics
Mm-hmm.
and move on, hopefully, to trumpet eventually. We'll see.
They used to they would sell maps in gas stations back in the day. Like you would like small regional maps of the town and this and that when gas stations were like a real thing. And you could also get steak knives if you filled up your tank. I don't know why I thought of that, but there used to be a gas station thing where if you got a full tank of gas, they would give you a steak knife, and like after 8, you got
8
like
steak knives.
yeah, you got like a full set. The whole point was they wanted you to come back and get like a full set or something, and then you got a fork. They
Who the
give you
fuck is he
forks
talking
after.
about?
He's talking about like a gas station rewards program.
Yeah, who told you this?
From like the 50s, yeah.
Oh,
Some
really?
old guy.
Some old.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder.
I asked
I wonder
another
why
old guy,
knives.
and I think I asked Dad once, and he was like, "Yeah."
Checks
Anyways.
out.
Oh, you asked your dad
Uh,
once, and he said, "Yeah, that checks out."
Yeah, I mean
That
you
is
know.
such a dad fact, though. You
Yeah.
know, like something that it just feels right, but like when you unpack it, you're like, I guess I have no actual reason other than my dad told
Other
me.
than he has dad authority,
And I
which fades over time.
I imprinted it in my brain when dad authority was like ultimate
Yeah.
authority.
Yeah. And there's a point where you're just like, oh yeah, he's basically God. Like he
Yeah,
feeds
yeah.
me, he clothes me, he could destroy me, like he takes care of me, he rewards me, just like the Bible.
Exactly.
But there's the
Yeah.
moment where you realize that they're not a god.
Right.
Like I think for me it was when our dad got in a car accident and he was like all bandaged up. It was like, oh shit, he's
Yeah.
not
You
indestructible.
just imagine
But for
cars would bounce off his skin or something.
Or it just
But
wouldn't
right,
happen
yeah.
to a God.
It
like
just doesn't
a God,
happen
yeah,
to
God
him,
wouldn't
yeah.
experience that.
He's
Right.
in control of everything.
Yeah.
He would make sure that didn't happen. But think about how fucked up it's got to be if the way you learn about that is your dad gets his ass kicked at a Little League game, like embarrassing you or something. Like that's got to
Yeah.
be such a different. I wonder how much it affects your view of authority.
Well, you know what you can't spell God without, Johnny?
Whoa.
Dog.
Oh shit! Which is our topic today?
Yeah, why not?
I was gonna
What the
say
hell?
go because I'm an idiot.
You're gonna say what? Go?
Yeah.
Go or do. I'm like,
That
where's he
works,
going?
too.
with this?
No, but
I didn't realize the other word in it.
You don't have
I
to
think
use
it's
all
not
letters.
a coincidence that dog is God spelled backwards.
I would like to know the etymology of both of those, which
Of
for
God.
any of you who don't know, etymology is just like word history, basically. It's a fancy term for that.
I think
But dog would
I
be
think
interesting.
dog goes back to like Old English.
It sounds
something.
like a Germanic or like Old Englishy word.
But they used to call them different things too, right? Like hounds. I mean, female
Hounds.
dogs I've heard be called bitches. You know.
I think
Uh,
dogs are
maybe
are like beers. You know,
mouths.
you could call they're all ales, but you can get more specific. You know,
Dogs are like
like
beer.
you call, yeah,
Explain further,
like-
please.
like
Johnny's
you could
like,
have.
no, I
you
didn't
could
want you
have-
to push me exactly yet.
Shit, I didn't think you'd call me out on it. I
Yeah,
was just
no,
trying
we're
to
going there.
talk about dogs.
Well, it's important to
Um,
talk about. So what do you got about ale dogs?
Well, it's like most beers are either an ale or a lager, but you get more specific with that. An IPA, you know, a Pilsner or whatever. But I think you can have like dog, and then there's like Himalayan tutu, whatever, Mastiff type. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Johnny's not in deep enough yet
so-
to
I'm
continue
not. I
his
need
dog
another beer,
rambles.
yeah.
for the days
Not there
leading
yet.
up to this episode, we were like trying to figure out like what would just be like an easy topic to talk about and like fun. And I think Johnny texted the group message like animal brains or something. I don't know what you said, but then it eventually became clear we should just talk about dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're very important. I mean, a lot of people have them, and they're very interesting. I mean, did you know that dogs have 100 times the nose receptors that the average human has?
Isn't it?
I believe
like,
that.
isn't
Or
it,
do they?
Isn't it like 1,000?
Oh, we're already
times?
starting with the fact?
I don't know. Why not? Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Wow.
I did look up a few facts about dogs. So I was thinking as I was looking them up.
Oh,
like,
did you find this
please,
one?
Please, God, let me find a fact that's exactly what Joe looks up,
Is
and I
this
can
it?
just like nonchalantly play it off.
Is
like,
this it?
No, I didn't look up that one.
Nice.
Is that your real fact or
Yeah.
fiction?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's more than 100.
It's way more
Because
than 100. Yeah.
I read.
No, 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
think
read
it's way
somewhere
more
that,
than that.
they came out with a high tech like bomb scanner thing for airports,
Mhm.
and it was like, you know, I think DARPA spent like $1 billion making it or some crazy shit, and it wasn't as effective as a German Shepherd.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so they, and especially not just
It wasn't as cute
identifying
either.
specific things, but also it just wasn't able to learn, like it just didn't have that. It wasn't as discerning. Basically.
Oh, that's right. There's
So-
no mechanism for it to like learn or have like intuition really, which is the big difference between AI and actual
Yeah,
thought.
you could make an AI scanner thing that like dog knows AI scanner. But it's just evolution has figured it out. It's going to be really hard to try to match it.
Well,
because it's been working on itself for a long time.
Yeah.
So, Joe, as your fact or fiction, do you want to like throw it out there and we'll come back to it, or should we just drill right into it?
We could, whatever you guys want to do.
I think we should come back.
Let's rip on dogs and see if it helps us.
Yeah, let it simmer for a while. Remember when we originally did betas, we would let things simmer and we would come back to the hanging fruit.
Is that what the simmering was? I thought it was just us being
simmery.
There's boilovers. That's what.
No,
us being in a state of mind whereby you tend to forget what you're talking about.
But remember, we would come back to the idea of try to get the hanging fruit, or I don't know what that.
Yeah. The ends of our beta episodes.
I never quite understood
that. Like the 10 before we started. Yeah. We would always end it with like any fruit hanging, like.
Yeah. Why did we stop that? That was good.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we have less just like frayed, not just loose ends, but just frayed wires shooting everywhere.
All right, so
to try to
that factor
I have some questions.
Okay.
About dogs that I'm gonna ask a bunch of dog questions, and I bet Luke doesn't know any of them, but I'm gonna assume he looked up the answers.
Crack a beer while he does this. Yeah. Let's get into
dogs
the next one.
are one of the first domesticated animals, right?
I would say they're one of the earliest.
I think they are the first on like.
They might be
record,
the first. Yeah.
Now I read somewhere that cats self-domesticated. That when people just started settling down long term, they were like, their food brings rats. I'll just hunt their rats, and like so they kind of
Really.
They kind of just self-domesticated themselves. That's why they
didn't they just like figure
They're
it
not
out?
As helpless as other animals we've domesticated. But so dogs were probably the first, or yeast. But yeast isn't an animal; it's a fungus.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that.
Let's say of mammals, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, that makes sense.
Have you ever?
How you doing there, buddy?
Have you ever seen it? Have you ever been talking to a dog before?
Yes.
And yes, I assume you've talked to dogs. Let's just say that.
I definitely.
Have you ever been talking to a dog
time.
before, and you have a moment where you're like, "Listen, man, it's just us. If you're able to talk, like, you can be honest with me.
Like,
I won't tell anyone. Like, if you don't want to be famous for it, I'm not going to exploit you. Like, I just want to know how you feel. Because I did that the other day with my dog, and for like a second, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna talk. He's gonna say something." And then he just licked my face and then rolled over.
Wait, so why do you assume that's not him talking?
I don't know.
I just like how
we talk with our tongue. What if a dog talks by like giving its tongue, and there's like detailed texture on its tongue that's like communicating like a digital message to you? And you're too fucking stupid to hear dog, Johnny.
Why'd you just go southern?
I definitely am.
Did I a little bit? It's been sneaking in.
A little bit.
You got a little. You snuck a little twang in there. You're like,
it's been sneaking in.
Why are you so stupid?
All right, folks, we are cracking another beer. Let me just quick announce it.
Oh yeah, big time.
I forgot we don't have to scream now that we have.
I'm screaming a little too. Yeah. Okay. Let's dial it back a notch. Just one notch.
This is a beer from Richmond, Virginia. On the way up from the south, we stopped in Richmond and Airbnb'd it. And this is from Triple Crossing, and it's called Poor Icarus, like Poor, Poor Icarus. It's a double IPA, and it's really delicious. I had one last night as well, and it almost tasted like Julius.
Oh, gotta love the Julius, which I think we've had on an episode before. We actually did the Julius.
Was that on an episode or a beta?
It might have been on a beta now that you mention it, but it will be on an episode eventually because it is that good, the Julius. That's Treehouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we'll definitely
check
go
it
on
out.
Another beer trip.
Check it out. If you can get a hold of a can of Julius, do it.
All right, so Johnny, if I can take what you were saying and put it on some kind of rails that will eventually lead us to Joe's nose sensors. I think about that kind of shit all the time, not just with like a dog talking, but like how a dog hears things and how a dog builds a map, but probably not so much visually, but with their nose, you know? So like the way
they can like see
might
and sense,
but with their
right,
with their sense of smell, making a visual field in their mind or something.
That would be pretty cool to like project if there was some sort of simulation where you could. I mean, I would assume like science has done that before. Like, are there any studies that show that like how much a dog can actually project its environment through scent?
I think I don't know if I'm sure it has been done like to get the what would the word be
Because who knows if they're
How
that
strong they are, you
if
mean?
it's that if their sense of smell is that advanced, like maybe it's better than us, like our eyesight even. You know, like our eyesight's
You
probably
mean
not.
they see in, like, higher definition?
Their eyesight.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
our eyesight is better than theirs, but it's probably not like at least maybe 100 times better according to my fact or fiction.
I
know?
see.
I
No, I
have-
think their
I have
eyesight
a
isn't.
dog
Yeah.
fact about
Yeah.
eyesight.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I have a
okay,
a
there you
dog
go.
tale about
Dog
eyes. So
tail.
I think we see
Pun
three.
warning
They're not
number
truly.
one, Johnny.
They're not truly colorblind. We see
That's good.
3 colors, right? RGB, isn't that it? Red, green, blue.
We
Aren't
have
those the
we
only
have
3 colors?
cone cells in our eyes that logarithmically respond to RGB roughly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So dogs, I think it's just RG.
Uh-huh.
So they're not truly colorblind. They just lack an extra thing.
Yeah.
The mantis shrimp has 12, by the way.
I know,
So you have
dude.
3. You perceive 3 colors. They perceive. They have like
Wait,
12
why
different
does the
cone
shrimp have
receptors.
so many more?
It must have
'Cause
been helpful, right?
Oh,
They
that checks out.
they live in like shallow tropical waters, so they need to see like light refracting through the water. They see an ultraviolet actually.
So if they were to look at a rainbow, they see a bigger rainbow.
Oh, that's pretty
they
cool.
see fucking
What we see
crazy
is called the
shitness, yeah.
visual light spectrum, which of course is called that because
Yeah.
we can see it.
Right,
But
and
on
we're America.
either end of that, you have things like infrared rays, right?
Right, yeah.
Which is heat energy.
That's what snakes do, right?
And then on the
Yeah.
other side, you
Reptiles
have
and
like
shit.
radio. I mean, you have radio on that side. And then on the other
Right.
side, you have microwaves and X-rays and gamma rays.
That's
Gamma
crazy,
rays
dude.
will strip your electrons off. Microwaves will heat
Yeah,
up your
baby,
food
that's a good shit.
and make your cell phone work.
Uh,
Visible light is like
but-
a beautiful sunset.
Yeah, there you go.
so
Spectrum,
we
bitches.
win because we see America, is what you're saying.
Yeah, red, white, and
That's
blue.
right.
Oh my
And
God,
the
but
rock-
But
checks
anyway,
out.
so we have 3 cones,
Yeah.
color recepting cones. They have 2, and if you ask an old person, I don't know why I have a lot of old people anecdotal facts, but that's
This
how
is
you
the
learn
first one
about
I've
dogs.
heard.
No, the steak
So-
knives.
Oh, yeah.
The last one, the steak knife. I started with a very weak one.
He's digging into his apparent treasure
digging
trove
in.
of
I'm,
old
yeah,
people
I'm
facts.
leaning into it.
Yeah, why not?
Well, my daddy told me one.
Yeah, he might be
time.
settling into like old Southern age already. Somebody told me, by the
I'm
way,
feeling
Johnny.
gouty.
By the way, somebody told me who was listening to the podcast. I mentioned something how you were my younger brother, and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, Johnny's like a couple years younger than me." And they're like, "I thought that dude was like in his 40s."
Yeah, I'm not aging well.
No, and it was funny because I was like, "Why'd you think that?" Because I was kind of like, "Why would you think Johnny?" Because I, of course, know that you're younger, and I was just like, "Why? Like, how come?" And they were like, because he's just, he's got all these like crazy facts of knowledge and like philosophies
One of those
and
weird,
like, and he brews
those
beer.
weird 40-year-old guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
It just does something like, what? You make beer?
So I think it's more of a
Yeah.
compliment, by the way.
Well, I'll get there someday. Anyway,
Yeah,
so,
you're in training.
if you, thank you.
Yeah.
To whoever, random listener.
Yeah.
Thank you. So if you talk to an old person about their dog, dogs used to just like bark at the TV sometimes, and like get angry and just bark at it, and people just thought dumb dog it doesn't know that there's not people there in there. It's just a TV. But my dog watches TV. We were watching Planet Earth 2 the other day, and he was watching it, especially like anything with monkeys or dogs. He was super into, which I found interesting. But he and I remember this because it's we have such higher definition now versus an old tube TV.
Right.
Versus like a 4K whatever flat screen we have now. It's fine enough definition resolution that they can see it. So it was the technology wasn't good enough until recently for dogs to be able to watch TV. But they
Yeah.
will watch it if you have a good enough TV.
Yeah, the question was never
And they're-
can dogs watch TV? It was, can dogs watch a
But
real
no,
enough
but
TV?
I'm saying
Can they
that's
discern
conventional
something? Yeah.
wisdom that turns out was wrong. People thought dogs were dumb because they don't understand television.
Right.
But it didn't work for them. It was like if someone just was blasting really blurry TV in a foreign language, you'd be like, "What the fuck? Turn it off!" But now that it comes in clear to them, they're like, "Oh, what the fuck? Monkeys? Oh shit, Planet Earth." He just watched the whole was just super calm and just watched the whole show with me. It was just
What's
as,
disturbing
rapt.
is like if he were to behave as he should, so to speak, he would be just like reacting in like a dumb like way. But it's almost like he was watching like, let me learn, you know?
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
he had his ears in. He had his ears in back, up the way he's listening, like when he's paying attention.
Yeah.
Like he was actively watching. I guess I should tell people because I think I'm the only one with the dog here.
Yeah.
That my dog is a blue pit, but he's a little guy. He's very
He's one
scrawny.
of
He's not like
the
a big
most
muscular
balanced
pit.
dogs I've met, though. Like, he's so solid and muscular, but he's so gentle too.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's like
He's a
floppy,
cool dude.
you know.
Yeah, that's why I was like, come on, man, we're cool.
Yeah.
Can you talk?
Well, it's interesting actually because so you have that dog, but we do have Ricky over here, which is a totally different type of dog though. It's a totally different dog
Ricky.
vibe.
He's so
And
small.
one of the fun
yeah.
things is
He's
like,
a hand
oh my
puppet.
god, they
He
all
is a
came
hand
from
puppet.
wolves.
But Ricky
Or
is
an
less wolf
ancestor of a
than Worf for sure.
Yeah.
If a wolf tried to fuck Ricky though, he would just explode like a chicken on the highway. Like there would be no way to finish the act. It was just a puff of
Well,
fur.
there's no
And
way
just
to-
feathers
there's
and
no
fur,
way to-
yeah.
for a
Yeah, and then the wolf would be
Ricky
like, "Where'd
is
it go?"
a tiny dog. There's no. I mean, a wolf is already bigger than your dog, Johnny. Like a wolf is like 4 times bigger than Worf.
Yeah.
Worf is
Yeah,
the name
he's
of
got-
Johnny's
he's-
dog.
And Worf is a big dog, but not compared to like a full-grown
A full-grown
wild
wolf, like you can see it next to like a lab,
Yeah.
and it towers over
Mm-hmm.
it. You know.
Yeah, but pits have a pretty good bite force. If he gets a good champ on the chomp on the wolf's neck, he might have a shot.
Oh, I don't know
he's a
what
big,
would happen.
he's a
in
big
fight,
baby. He would
certainly,
just
but-
get raped by the wolf. But yeah, it's so crazy.
All
I think
these
Ricky
rapey
came
wolves.
from wolves because like you put
yeah.
him next to a wolf and it's like what the fuck.
Yeah, he's come much farther from wolf than Worf,
So
I think.
one of the unique things about dogs, and it's because of this fact that they like evolved with us, you know, like alongside, is that they're so attuned to human emotion.
I think I remember reading like even more so than other dogs in some cases. There was like a big article that came out last year about that.
What, wolves?
No, dogs, about how they're more in tune with like
Humans, then that you're saying they're more in tune with humans than they are even in tune with other dogs.
Exactly, yeah, because
Yeah.
they've been the ones who have that.
It's a bigger pressure.
Well, the ones who
Yeah.
have that connection, and that's what people prefer. They've selectively bred them to make more like that.
And maybe they're only even. This is one of the things that worries me about dogs sometimes, because I love dogs. But sometimes I worry, like, are they just mirroring our emotions and making us feel more validated? Because, like,
Well, what's wrong with that?
I don't know. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that either. But certainly, what would be cool about it is, like, even while they're just mirroring whatever emotion we have and trying to respond to that, they are feeling it too. They're clearly like having an experience, a conscious experience. I don't know what it's like compared to humans, but they're doing something.
I think that goes back to an old philosophy like industrial era where like I got to look into this more, but this idea that animals are just kind of basically automaton, like creatures of nature, and they don't really have.
Wasn't that even like Aristotle or something, right?
Yeah, no, I think it goes like back. It goes way
They
back.
thought there was something fundamentally different about humans.
Yes.
So like all the other animals,
Right.
you can say they're just robots. There's inputs and outputs.
Exactly.
And there's no experience hovering on that.
Which is kind of a really.
I mean, I'm inputs and outputs too. Like I drink.
But
some
that's a
coffee,
really- but that's
I
a
shit
really
some
interesting-
liquid.
In, go, out. But that's a really interesting way to think about it and think about why we put ourselves on that sort of pedestal, because from one perspective, it's you would say, of course, why wouldn't we? What else am I doing other than doing that? But at the same time, that mindset sort of also leads you down a possible train of thought of, well, why aren't we just automaton? That's like
The Westworld.
Westworld. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, if you've ever seen Westworld, it addresses that exact
So
contradiction, right?
The topic, the philosophy topic that Westworld is about,
Oh,
and
so
what Joe
good.
just said, is called philosophical zombies. It's the idea is like, how do you know that everyone you're interacting with is having an experience like you are, and they're
Right.
not just like robots?
Right.
In Westworld, the idea was the robots are just giving you every sign
Spoilers.
of suffering and like experience, even though they're just automatons.
Right. But then
Or
how
are they?
Or are they? And also like.
But then at what
or
point is that
it-
different from biology? If it's performing the same function, you know?
Yeah, that sort of gets into the mystery of consciousness itself.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered what it's like to be a dog.
Like what it would be like to have dog intelligence.
No, not to be myself in a dog, but
That's what I mean, to be in the
To have the impulses
Yeah.
of a dog.
not even that.
and
I
the
mean, like
urges and
the
wants
experience
and needs
itself.
of a dog.
Like what
so
it
to
is
not be
like
Luke,
to
just
be a dog.
wake up as a dog.
Well, so like I think of it. I've said this to you guys probably many times. Like I've thought of being a dog as maybe like your dream self. Because like there's a few
That's a
qualities
cool
of
way to
being in
think
a
about it.
dream
Yeah.
that are like nothing like reality. And the one that strikes me most is that I don't care about anything in a dream. Like I have emotional reactions to things, but I don't abstract away from them and think, why is Billy Joel playing tennis with me? Like I just do it.
Right. Yeah, you don't think of the fun. You're more in the moment almost.
I don't care that it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, right?
Right. But the game of tennis could make sense. But the reasons, the more
And the
abstract reasons
language
might
and the
not.
speaking
That's
and,
interesting,
and
yeah.
even the fears, right? But
Right.
I never ask myself, wait, why am I Luke, who's in 2018,
Right.
all of a sudden playing tennis with Billy Joel? And also your environment is like a poorly rendered video game. You
Yeah,
know?
it's like you can see the fogging screen,
Yeah,
like at
yeah.
the edge where like they didn't generate
And you
the
see the other
simulation
character
further.
just like walking into the wall repeatedly and just like flickering.
Yeah, the legs are moving, but he's not going any farther.
This is what dreams are like, and I wonder
Yeah.
if a dog's life is just that level of like wispiness to reality where you're never that
Yeah.
grounded and you're just experiencing.
Yeah, very.
Well, dogs definitely
very
don't.
well.
Humans are the only species that measure time just arbitrarily.
You
Not
mean that, like,
I got to
count
wait
it?
this long for my egg to be ready. Yeah, that we like quantify
Yeah.
time. So that's why we're the only ones that freak out about it. Because when you leave your house, your dog doesn't know has no idea how long you've been gone or you're gonna be gone. They have like the mind, the like intelligence of like a 2 or 3 year old, I
Right,
think.
yeah.
So. They just to them it's just gone. Like it's just there's no later
Although,
or
Johnny,
before.
you want to
It's
hear a
just,
cool thing I watched? I remembered seeing this BBC program on dogs, so I searched for it this morning. And they did this study where these two people would leave their house every day at the same time, and they had cameras in the house to watch what the dog does.
And then it talked like Toy Story.
And then, it just jerked off and, like, watched porn. No.
They
You talking about it was a husky, right?
No, it wasn't. I forget the
I
type
saw
of
one
dog,
with a husky.
but it was a pretty intelligent breed, I think. So
Huskies are dumb, aren't
the
they?
wife would get home and greet the dog, whatever, and then the dog would always know that like around 15 minutes before the husband would get home, it would just be on like high alert and go up on the couch and like look out the window where the door is and then go to the door and
But
then
it probably
look out.
wasn't timing that. It just internalized like.
Well, so they tried
that
to figure
lesson.
out,
Oh, no.
does the dog calculate that time, because he's
Right.
always doing it at 4:45.
Maybe not consciously.
Not-
He
certainly
doesn't.
not consciously,
They hear Worf, he knows what my truck sounds like.
Well, that too.
Because
of
I come
course.
home, I get out of work at a different
Yeah.
time every night. So I come home at a different time, and he's always staring at the door, no matter how quiet. I creep up and I peek through the little window, and he's there staring at the door, unless I'm,
So their hypothesis was
Sorry.
Hypothesis.
I said it right.
Yeah, no, it's unless it was multiple, then it would be hypotheses.
Exactly.
God damn it, hypotheses.
It was
it's
basically
pronounced
that, like,
hypodermis.
maybe the
Is
dog,
that what you were talking about before about trolling people?
Yeah, just correct them.
Yeah, it's
Correct
called
them.
hypodermis actually in the 21st
God.
century. Did
You
you
know,
know
you
that?
sound dumb when you say it, though.
Hypodermis.
You sound ignorant, Luke. That's what you sound like. You fucking ignorant.
slut.
What were you saying?
All right, sorry.
So
Back
dogs,
to what you were saying. Back to your serious point about being a dog.
So they thought that dogs were actually measuring time through the decay of the scent of the guy. So they thought when the guy leaves,
Oh, that's really
he
cool.
leaves behind a strong scent.
Yeah.
And then the scent gets weaker with a somewhat predictable
And then that
curve
triggers
down.
whatever.
And that is what the dog is using, let's say, on a rough scale to measure time, so to speak.
Which you think you would only be able to do if you had at least 100 times the nose receptors of a
At
human.
least probably 1,000 times.
Well, you know, that's a good
Is
question.
that why my dog doesn't
Guess
care
what
when
they
I
did
fart
in
on
this
him?
experiment, though?
Wait, what?
Sometimes I'll fart on him if he's sleeping on the bed and my back's to him. I'm not going to move out of the way to not fart on him. He doesn't care.
And what happens?
Nothing. No, he just doesn't pay attention to it. Doesn't register.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah. You ever fart on a dog, Luke?
Yeah, definitely. Well, not as many times as dogs have farted on me, though.
I would say that's probably
Fair,
true for
fair,
me too. Yeah.
That's a healthy sign. That's a sign of a healthy person.
Yeah. You got a good diet. You got a
ratios
good
there.
diet there, Luke.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think anybody can beat the ratio of dogs farting on you versus farting on dogs.
I mean, you could, but it would take mindless
No,
effort.
Yeah, I'm saying if you did, that's a red flag. You're a weird guy.
Yeah,
You
no.
go out of your way
Exactly,
to find
yeah.
dogs to fart
And
on.
or
You
if
don't
I
just
go out of
hang
my way to
with them.
even calculate that sort of thing. Did I just have a southern accent again?
Dude, you're really slipping into the
Yeah.
twang. I don't know.
I was there for a while, and I also, while being in the South and driving up, me and
Wow.
Nathan listened.
Yeah, he did it
Wow,
again.
being in the South.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh
did you
my
hear yourself
gosh.
there, Luke?
Even
Wow.
saying gosh.
Oh,
You've been
my
hanging.
gosh.
Oh my dear Lord, it's hot in here.
I've been down here 2 years and I'm still talking like this.
He still
Come on,
talks
buddy.
just fine, Luke.
Come on, buddy.
What the hell's wrong with you?
So, they
Yeah, what was the hypothesis?
what they did was
Hypodermises.
Oh,
when
hypodermises.
when the wife got home, which was like a few hours before the husband is usually home, she stopped by the soccer club where this guy works
And banged him?
and grabbed his shirts and clothes and then just walked around the house with that, spreading his scent, and like left the clothes on the couch.
That's a metaphor for they banged.
The dog did not do the usual routine of like getting excited and waiting by the window and looking at the
That's
door.
interesting.
It just chilled there and like
Wow.
looked around.
Yeah, because of all
So their
its nose
hypothesis
receptors.
was like that the dog was using that like decay of
Sure,
like
yeah.
I haven't smelled master in a while.
Yeah.
That's usually when he returns.
And they'll do that. Dogs are all about that, identifying with the master or the
Yeah.
alpha or whatever.
as they should.
Yeah. Well, they know how to do
I
it.
never think.
Yeah.
I never think of myself as master. It's definitely alpha, and my wife's the alpha, not me.
Yeah.
Because she trains him more. So
So does that make you?
she's the
Does
alpha
that
of
make
the
you
pack.
beta?
Yeah, but when she's not here, he looks to me as the alpha.
Right. You're. Well, that's why you're beta. You're backup alpha.
You know, it's worth noting too. Like, what do you guys think about the sort of back and forth, the war between cats and dogs, like cat people, dog people?
I think it's stupid. I think there are some really cool cats. There are some really cool dogs. There's some really shitty cats. It's like people.
yeah.
You know?
Should I get Cara? She knows about dogs and cats.
Well, I texted her if she wanted to do like a crazy dog science fact.
But I just feel like all these things were like, I don't know how do dogs think or smell. Like, I think she knows these things. We could just ask her. She's in the next
Yeah,
room.
do it.
But I'll go get her in a minute. What were you saying though, Luke?
Oh, I was just thinking like I have recently lived with a cat for the first time. I'm like a dog person. If you were to force me into one
Right,
category, I can't see myself ever getting a cat.
But there are cool cats.
But there are cool cats, and
Yeah.
so this cat has been living here for a while. The original owner like moved away, and I don't know what's going to happen with it. But the person who was feeding it also just moved out, and so for a few days I was sort of.
Oh, you got defaulted into cat.
I got defaulted into cat. And one of the things I noticed is the cat started paying attention to me because it knows I'm feeding it, you know?
That's probably most important to
It
cat.
comes over randomly and just like love rubs on me, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, hello.
Mm-hmm.
And then like looks all cute at me and like it rolls onto its back and puts its paws out, which is like a sign of submission, you know? Because like you're showing your like vulnerable organs.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Sure.
As opposed to the opposite, which would be like scurrying into a corner where
Or
it
like
can
hunching
hide.
your back
Or
like
hunching
cats
the
do.
back,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
And so it's like trying to build a relationship with me of trust because it depends on people.
Right.
And it's like the other one it bonded with left. So she knows she needs these monkey, chimpanzee, humanoid things, giant cats probably to her, right? To feed her because she doesn't know how to like open a can. I barely know how to open the can of cat food. It's like really tricky.
And you have fingers.
And I have like fingers.
Dogs do see us as people. Like they don't see us as dogs. That's why you were saying they connect with us emotively different than they do with other dogs. But cats see humans as big cats.
Right.
I remember reading something online about they did a brain scan of like cats and they showed them images of cats and people. And they did the same with like dogs and people. And they could tell by like what lit up, what like the response was.
But is that
And yeah, cats just think of us as these giant, weird, awkward, two-legged cats.
But that's what I mean. Is that because they don't actually see us and see a cat? They see us and say, "Fuck it, we're cats. Everybody's cats."
No,
right?
but obviously the idea is they don't do any of that. There's no abstraction layer on top of the experience.
I don't know that about cats. Cats are
don't
pretty.
either.
Well, yeah, because think about it, dogs relate to us in our terms because we're the ones who taught them how to
do that.
You know, how to beg for food and this and that, how to live within our world. But cats self-domesticated, which is why they use cat things like to signal to you that like the things they would use with other cats, like the haunches going up on the haunches, and
Right.
then looking at you as a cat, like not treating you as like that's why they're much more.
It's like they know how to love
They
you.
can treat
but
you like-
they just have a weird distance that dogs don't seem to have.
Yeah, dogs seem to
Right,
have less
'cause-
boundaries
Yeah.
in that sense. For
I
sure.
just think they've maintained more of their own like catness identity because they
Right.
self-domesticated.
It's almost like
So they chose what level to interact with us.
It's a-
It was like, you have all this grain stored, you were bringing food around, so I'm just going to hang out and figure out how to live with these humans.
it's almost like they're retaining like a safety net just in case we fuck them over, you know?
Right. They'll
It's
they'll
like in a relationship.
they're totally ready to inherit the earth if they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need us. Dogs kind of need us.
It's like any relationship where like one of the people will just sort of like be like, well, I'm not going to fully commit because like I'm not sure about this thing, so I need to have like this backup plan.
Well, I think a perfect example, now that you mention it, is sort of that you notice, at least in America, and this is definitely different in different places throughout the world, but there's a lot of feral cats. Just like people will say, oh, I have a cat, but it's an outdoor cat. It just kind of comes and goes. Nobody does that with dogs really here.
And if it is,
They
it's a
used
dog that
to.
needs to be
Yeah, but they don't
rescued.
anymore. Yeah, it's a dog that
No.
needs to be rescued.
I mean, dogs live in packs in the wild, right?
I mean, if they
I know dogs
had to
can
do it, they
survive in
would.
dumpsters and whatnot. In
Yeah,
the
no,
city.
they could do
Yeah,
it, but you just don't see it.
The number of stray dogs though is insane.
Is it really?
And yeah, a lot of it's
Is
skyrocketed
there some like
in the last
night
few years.
gang of like dogs running around that I never see?
Well,
or am I just in
It's
night?
That's my
suburbs?
point. I see stray cats all the time. I very rarely see just a dog mucking about.
yeah, there is.
No, I'm saying I believe that they are, but I'm just saying I see the cats much more commonly. I don't know the actual numbers, the actual statistics, but I assume somebody's been counting them.
You don't have the statistics on that
I-
at the ready?
I didn't do the research
You know what statistic I did? I randomly found on Reddit today,
about dogs.
and it was ironically about dogs.
Yeah.
It was about this sort of like with like lawyers that deal with like divorces. Turns out that with animal disputes between like couples,
Yeah.
96% of the problems were with dogs. And guess what two animals were tied for second place in divorce
Wait,
disputes?
96% of the problems?
Yeah, in other words, 96% of the cases where the two people in the marriage were arguing over who should get the pet, it was a dog.
It was a dog, really.
Now, the two animals that tie for second are tied at 1%. So you have a bunch in like the 4%
Wow.
of different ones, but the next two are tied.
Cat and snake.
It's cat, obviously, and one other thing.
It's not snake?
It's not
No,
snake,
no,
though.
It's not snake. Hamster
Nope.
or gerbil.
Turtle.
No,
It's going to make sense when you hear it, but
It's not turtle.
It's cat and
Oh,
horse.
bird.
Horse.
Horse?
horse.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, nobody wants to give up a
Because
fucking
they're
horse.
worth money. Like, even if I didn't like the horse at all,
Yeah.
like, I
A
would
horse
be
costs more than
interested
a
in it
gerbil.
in terms of its money. It's like having a car. It's like, if your
For-
car breaks down,
For
like,
most
take
of
your
history,
horse.
it was like having a car.
Yeah.
That's literally what a horse was.
All right,
for
so
most
we're
of
here
history.
talking about dogs, so we figured why not bring
Except-
on our veterinary friend.
Our veterinarian
why-
expert.
Fuck, is that another Southern thing coming through?
Dude,
Did I say veterinary?
It's
Yeah, you
bad.
really
need to
gotta-
go to. You need to go for reconditioning.
Yeah, Luke.
Go hang out at Penn Station for a day.
Yeah, Luke, I'm gonna take your wallet and make you be homeless in Penn Station for 24 hours.
That'll fix me right
That
up.
should
Yeah.
fix you right
I'll
back.
come back with like a good accent. Yeah.
And some stab wounds. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Well, anyways,
I
our friend Cara is here to help us talk about dogs. Welcome, Cara.
Thanks, and I brought a new beer.
Awesome. What do you got there?
Night Vision Radio. It's a collab by this can is like super confusing. By Against the Grain.
It looks pretty.
In Louisville.
Nice.
Louisville.
I also just want to mention we are now on Evil Twin Brewing's Soulmade. It's an IPA. Really good. Really different.
I like it. It's a good contrast to what we just came from.
Yeah, I can't
We
quite.
came from those super juice bomb things.
It's
and
almost
this
like-
one's like very smooth and
It's almost like
easy.
like floral. It's like lighter. Yeah,
it's
nice.
way more on the floral side of
Yep.
like IPA land than
Yeah.
the like super like deep juicy notes.
Yeah,
kinda
just the
thing.
bombs. Yeah.
Like those are great too. But
Oh, they're fantastic.
I also love.
But this
the,
is actually
floral
nice.
thing.
This is actually nice a couple beers in, where you're like, oh, I'm feeling the
Yeah.
IPA vibe, but I want something that's not that heavy bomb. This is right in
Yeah,
between.
and
I like
think
that.
we mentioned that on the last one. The idea like that you get palate fatigue when you have like
Totally, yeah.
too many insane things on your.
Well, we were
tongue,
talking about that the other night with sours. How
especially with sours.
yeah, you can only handle so much of that before you're just even drinking one sour. By the end of the sour, you're like, That's pretty sour.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting to me.
All right, Cara, I'm gonna lob you a softball
I disagree.
here.
You
Ready?
can disagree all you want.
Fine, I will.
All right.
Go ahead, Luke.
I want you to give us your intro to this episode on dogs. Tell me how you think beer and dogs are connected.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hello, humans. What's the one thing that unites all domestication? Intense pleasure.
I thought you were going to say beer and dogs.
That's a pretty good answer. Is that it?
It
Full
is,
stop?
though.
Yeah.
Well, so I was just sitting, so right before I came in, when Johnny texted me, it took me, like 3 minutes to come in here, which isn't a lot, because I was in a moment of bliss because my puppy was passed the fuck out on my lap in just the most
nice.
comfortable position. And I was just like, what is the meaning of all this except for to like have a fucking sleeping dog on your lap?
Can't spell
Yeah,
God
I've
without
had-
dog,
I've
like
had
we
those
said.
moments.
yeah,
for sure.
and so what was best about that, we call it a case of doll. I'm sure a lot of people know that. DOL.
Oh.
Doll.
Dog on lap.
It's you can have dog on lap, and it's a debilitating
Yeah,
condition.
best condition.
Millions of Americans suffer from it every day.
Yeah.
But this doll was
You're-
great because even though he was asleep on my lap and I didn't want to move him, I could reach my beer. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty happy. I was watching Mad Men.
Well, you had
know,
your
I
you
did
had your
John-
medicine.
You're watching
You had your
Mad Men
medicine
right
with
now?
you.
Yeah, I'm on like
All right. We
season
gotta talk about
whenever
it
things
sometime.
are
Not-
even
not
more
now,
ridiculous
but
than the previous season.
Let's talk about it sometime. I fucking
let's
love
talk
that
about
show.
dogs
I
right now.
fucking love Mad Men.
You aggressively love Mad Men.
No, I mean it's just good in so many ways, including dog ways.
What?
I think it's really interesting because Mad Men definitely
Oh, shit.
didn't come out. I mean, I'm not up to like 20. I don't know if there is a 2017 season, but it's really interesting, you know, with all the like hashtag Me Too's coming out and then watching this shit and being like, yeah, like then you talk to like your mother and you're like, well, yeah, that really was what it was like.
Yeah.
Though my
yeah.
mother's,
It-
she would have been young in that time.
Like,
But nevertheless.
the scale of like of everything like culturally is so different just going back to the 50s and 60s. It's crazy.
Yeah, looking them at too on Mad Men, like the way that they treat their dog.
I know
You know,
their
even the
dog
way
is
that-
not even a part of the family.
It's a dog.
It's like an
Yeah,
extra
well, I mean,
weird thing that's just like around.
Yeah, I mean, though, tell me if I'm, you know, taking too much conversation, but I think that in a way, things were better than in like
Johnny, you shouldn't have
in
shook your head
training
now.
because
Look at
dogs were
Johnny.
a lot of times used for the purpose for which they were bred, which is why I loved, you know, like in Europe and particularly Scotland, because that's what I have the most experience with. They're like dogs are
That's your
still
heart.
used for that purpose, and so they're so much better behaved.
Wait,
like in the
used for
U.S.,
what?
we
Used for what purpose?
well, like for work, like sheepdogs herd
Oh,
and
is that
dachshunds
what they do?
kill
Like border collies.
kill rats and huskies. Yeah.
Oh, is
yeah.
that what they do on
and,
Mad Men?
and-
Like it's like a house functional dog, like it kills rats.
No, but if you just think back to the 50s, like a farm dog was a farm dog.
Oh, I understand what
you
you're
know?
saying. Yeah.
Like they did something.
You had a dog because it was helping on the farm.
It was doing something or being something. So
Yeah.
even if it was like being
Yeah.
just like an occasional companion for people, like you just feed it your scraps. That's the whole
Yeah.
point, right?
It's-
Is you don't have to feed it like it's one of your own
Right.
children, but it gives a sense of security. It's like an alarm for like, it's like they didn't have electric alarms on their doors, but they had a fucking dog which barks when it hears anything, you know?
Right. Right.
Morty.
But I would say that dogs it was better then for them because like the people at least they had like a purpose. Yeah, even if you had a shitty factory job,
Yeah.
like you made stuff.
You're literally
Wait,
you could
now-
replace all of that
now
with
you-
slavery, Johnny, and it would sound just the same.
Well, I don't want to go that far back.
But also,
I just
you're
mean
right.
to when there were still like unions and people got raises and stuff. You know,
Wait, so
instead of-
you're
no,
saying you don't
you're gonna
support
be
the
a
dog
robot
union?
soon.
Is that what you're saying?
Johnny, you were saying that dogs like you were saying that dogs had a purpose when they had like a job to do.
Yeah, that
Right?
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like huskies
Right.
aren't
Much like a
stupid. They're
human.
just
If
designed
you
to
give
run
somebody,
in the
like,
snow for 10
if
hours.
somebody
a day.
wins the
Right.
lottery, right? Like and then they don't have to work, they don't have something they have to be good
Well,
at.
that's why you get
they
people who
lose
are miserable.
purpose,
Yeah.
and then they
sure.
become like you know, the same way you see a dog who just like sits at home, like they can become depressed. Dogs like get like down and like low energy, and they need to be given like challenge. Even going for a walk in the woods is a challenging task for a dog.
Yeah. Ricky literally cries when you take him to the beach.
He's upset.
No, he starts crying in the car because
joy.
Yeah, because he knows the beach is happening.
And there's so many smells there.
So many
smells.
So
much poop to get your nose in.
So much sandy poop to just dig into. Yeah, he loves it. Johnny's making a face. He likes it.
Yeah. Did you guys see that preview? I saw it while I was watching Star Wars, and one of the previews was this new movie coming out about how dogs got domesticated.
It's like a Nat Geo type deal?
No. It's like a drama movie, like on the level of like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, is that the one?
Thing.
That's the one starring Dog.
It stars a wolf who
he goes by Snoop Lion now, Joe.
Basically, the way they showed it in the preview, they tried to just give an idea of like how would the first wolf have become a little more docile and joined up with a human, and they showed this human stumble upon a wounded wolf, and he picked it up and brought it back to his like hunter-gatherer like fire area.
And the wolves who then ate everybody didn't become dogs because they ate everyone.
It healed, right?
Yeah.
And then like they were trying to just show like there must have been one first wolf-human relationship, you know?
Right.
And I don't know. I guess it's coming out soon. I think it's called Dog or Wolf.
But that probably wasn't like one of them. It was probably a bunch of them in different scenarios where it was like a dog was or wolf was just
happened a lot.
Right. Yeah. Wolf was just hanging out and was like, "Hey, these people left food. I'm gonna come be cool or whatever."
Right.
And like maybe we can get along.
I think Cara actually knows. But my crazy theory that I'm basing on
this isn't scientific theory. These are all crazy theories.
Okay,
and then we can have Cara tell us all how wrong we are. That's perfect. Yeah.
That's why we brought her on.
Yeah, no, this
We're
is
getting
fine.
to the slippery world of dogs here, and
we're 3 beers in, and
we
many
need
a
the
dog.
scalpel of a veterinarian.
Yeah.
To cut through all this fat.
So what's your true theory?
My theory is that when we were hunter-gatherers moving around, is we attracted climate change. Bam, I said it.
He went there.
We went
there.
It was happening even back then, apparently.
Yeah, I feel like it's been happening
things are
forever.
Getting tougher. Humans, we did pretty well because we got like thumbs and spears and stuff. So, we can,
the two greatest attributes of humans: thumbs and spears.
Not unrelated,
and
probably.
A willingness and a hunger for meat and flesh. So the wolves were probably like, fuck, we can't kill a mastodon, but if we follow the humans, we could fight them for some of their scraps, or if one of them breaks a leg, we can eat them, or something like that. And then the humans figured out, like, oh, if we just, like, find the ones that are willing to come up that we could feed and then kill the ones we can't, then eventually they'll just stop being wolves and they'll just hang out with you.
And that takes
they'll
so much time, but it eventually works, right?
I mean, if we're strictly speaking about time, there were a lot of points that could be addressed and have fun with, but that last point, I don't know how many generations per se, but I mean the thought is that dogs were domesticated between 15,000 and 10,000 years ago, but the Russians have domesticated foxes.
I know, that's a great radio
done it in like it's got to be less than 30, yeah, it's got to be less than like 50 generations because they've been doing it within the last, like, I believe 20 years.
Since the 50s or even, whenever it was, yeah.
But some really interesting things that happen to them that happen to dogs is that the more domesticated, so basically they take the calmer, the more docile pups and they then breed those ones. They get more.
The rest go in borscht.
Borscht is delicious.
And goodbye, Russian listeners.
Bad dog, good borscht.
Oh God, I don't want to be on a Russian fox farm.
I didn't know that was an option.
That's where Johnny just was.
Jesus Christ.
She's talking about Russians domesticating foxes. They
on like an industrial level?
Well, this
I guess you would have to. Yeah,
like secretly.
That's right.
Enough to have a breeding population.
Yeah, if you were the Soviet Union, of course I would start a fox like domestication
Russia,
program.
Foxes domesticate you. I'm sorry.
Wait, but Cara, I remember the bit about the geneticist in Russia doing things on foxes, but I forgot what the cool what the cool
I
like
forgot.
conclusion was. I know it
Yeah,
had a
you
cool...
just went back to like New Englandy accent. You're like, I forgot.
Oh God, I think I'm in accent crisis.
I think you're an accent addict. Maybe you jump around between.
Well, I'm worried about moving anywhere and picking up on an accent.
Yeah, you might like
It
that
really
might be an
helped me
issue
learn
for you.
Turkish, like to be good at like hearing sounds and recreating them.
Adapting.
But
to
it would
yeah.
also make me pick up the southern swang like a little too quickly, you know.
Southern swang.
So, Cara, what was the really cool
Don't blame it
conclusion
on
from
Turkish.
the Russian fox breeding? I remember it was something like really crazy.
Well, I mean, for me, it's not that crazy. The more domesticated they are, the more coat colors they get, and their ears flopped,
Yep.
which is like adorable.
Also, their eyes became like slightly bigger, right?
I haven't heard that, but in general, there's at least with humans, and we've done it with some dogs that I mean a lot of dogs that there's a word for it that I always forget. It's like something.
Blockbuster.
There's a preservation in humans of the infantile head shape, what's considered like cute.
Oh,
You know, like you look at like
yeah.
babies, and that's cute. And a lot of
I don't, but some people do.
and some domesticated dogs,
Humans in general,
do
yeah.
this, and then there are some other species where, like, we've domesticated them, and then bred them to have this infantile head shape, which is it's just an interesting.
Oh, it's like how the Chinese do the feet
fact
thing.
that
So you're saying that it almost evolved to like trigger our care for an infant. That's why we find dogs and these domesticated foxes so cute.
So yeah. I mean, there are a lot of really cool facts about the genetics between wolves and dogs. One such is that I don't know the exact number, and I meant to look this up, but there's only like 46 or something gene differences between wolves and dogs, and out of that, about half of them have to do with carbohydrate. Dogs and beers. They're about carbohydrate digestion.
She just blew my mind and made the
Yeah,
5-minute
she
connection.
came
or whatever
full
it was.
loop. Yeah, I like it.
So modern dogs
because
can have carbs.
wolves are.
So I should feed my dog
Yeah.
beer.
Well, no, not only need to have.
Oh,
Modern
okay.
dogs need to have carbs in their diet. That's why like the raw diet, like people do it poorly because they'll just feed like a steaks to dogs, and then they die by these really cool diseases, which I really enjoy. But
As a
but yeah, so
studier
like
of them.
dogs can eat
She
our
didn't
bread.
clarify that point,
and,
but yeah.
And you know, beer.
So
bread,
so
carbs,
that's
right?
actually hilarious. So that's a main difference between wolves and dogs is carbs, and beer certainly has carbs.
Wait, so
I would like to make a PSA though for people. In all seriousness, hops are very poisonous to dogs.
yeah.
So
Also,
don't give your dog
just-
hops or
let's just
hoppy
say for the
IPAs,
record,
or
anybody
beer in
listening,
general.
if you give your dog beer, don't do it because we said so.
Yeah, but seriously, hops are very bad for dogs.
Okay. Yeah, that too.
Keep your hops away from your dog.
Like beer hops?
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, like the plant hops.
Yeah.
Hops. Yeah, hops.
Okay.
Wait, can I just say an aside that can get edited out?
No.
Ideally, maybe not so much. but
That just makes
can you
me. That's
phrase
what
it?
me and Joe have to do. Like,
Yeah, that makes us have to
pretty
do
much
like a lot of
half hour
work.
of extra
Yeah.
bullshit.
Can you phrase it in a way that we can just like people
Publish?
won't?
I mean, I guess
Understand?
not edited out because it's not anecdotal. It's just knowing. I have a couple friends who work in Colorado, and with weed becoming legal,
That's fine.
there have of course been dogs who eat products
Yeah.
or
Oh,
eat
yeah.
weed.
Sure.
It's bound to
And
happen.
what's hilarious about that is like, yeah, it can be like toxic and bad, but a lot of times what they do is that it's like if there's no like chocolate or anything in it, it's
Right.
just the dogs
Yeah.
being really fucking high.
Yeah.
And so all they'll do is like the owners will bring them in and they'll just put them in like a dark cage and give them some fluids and then just like let them not
So
wait to not be high.
So Kara,
Play some Grateful Dead, American Beauty. Just real
so,
low.
so Kara, basically what you
Chill.
would do to anybody
Let
who
'em ride it out.
overdoses on weed, basically.
Yeah, it's just make them feel comfortable. and
the
let them
ride it
enjoy
out
as
treatment,
much as they
yeah.
can.
Yeah, that checks out.
And sometimes the part of that to not enjoy, let's say allegedly if you were a dog and you accidentally ate some weed,
Yeah. Which happens.
maybe you'll
to
find
dogs.
out the thing you hated most in that was the thing the best thing you took back from it, you know?
If you're a dog?
If you're a dog and you hypothetically like eat weed and have a freak
that
out.
happened to a friend of mine. I
for
have a story
26
about
hours.
that. He made a
Hypothetically.
bunch of brownies. He made a bunch of brownies with like special brownies.
And then he called
had
911 and it's on YouTube.
He put him in his closet on the top shelf. Like, you know when you open a closet, the shelf above eye level, right there? It was on top of that shelf. And then he went away on a school trip or something. I forget. But he was away for like 3 or 4 days. And when he came back, his parents told him this whole story about how the dog almost died and they almost put the dog down.
Oh, shit.
And like told him the whole timeline and everything. Oh no, they called him the last day of the trip, and they're like, "Oh, we weren't gonna tell you about this until you got back, but like, we're probably gonna put the dog down because he's just like not moving, and we don't know what's going, this and that, and blah blah blah." And he was like, and that was his first thought was when they described it was that he got to the brownies, and so they asked him to go into the. Oh no, yeah, and so but they ended up not doing it. They said, he's like, just wait till I get home. And he got home, and like the dog was fine suddenly. And he went to his bedroom. His parents just didn't go in there to look, and he had pulled the brownies out of the closet somehow, like pulled like something else and knocked them down and ate all of them. So ate a whole tray of like brownies and was just fucked up.
But also, chocolate's pretty toxic to a dog.
I guess it was the fake stuff, you know.
Oh.
It must have been like really fake,
like bullshit
artificial.
chocolate. I guess it's dark chocolate. That's
but still, it's like it's like any amount.
It's the caffeine, I think, that kills.
I was gonna say like
chocolate.
any amount of like way too much weed for a dog, and then whatever else is fake chocolate.
But he almost
probably doesn't
he almost
help,
got his
right?
It didn't help.
He almost got his parents to kill his dog.
Right.
Yeah, because not only did he almost kill his dog, if the brownies didn't, they were gonna be like, well, we got it. It was probably the chocolate fucking the dog up, but he recovered. But
he was also probably really fucking stoned.
He was definitely really fucking
stoned.
stoned.
He was really stoned for a couple of days.
here's-
Can you imagine coming back from the trip and the parents are like, we killed your dog because you let it get high? That's fucked up.
Yeah. If
But,
that had happened.
but only you would know that.
But here's what I think about that, because these people from the West will go over to these like Buddhist teachers in the East, and the stories go. I don't know how to believe them, but
Are you generalizing?
No, the stories go like with this one guy named Kruli Baba.
What?
The East and West. He's not generalizing.
Yeah, he was like, nah.
They gave this yogi named Kruli Baba like LSD.
Who?
Richard Alpert, who became Ram Dass.
No, who was the
professor.
other guy?
He's he was a yogi in
What's his name?
Neem Kruli Baba.
I just want to see how many times I can get you to say it.
Neem Kruli Baba.
That sounds like my rap name. Yeah, what are you talking about? That sounds made up.
Apparently they gave him LSD, and he just smiled and took it, and then nothing happened.
He just took it in stride?
No, I mean nothing happened.
Well, that's like, remember that time we met the Buddhists playing basketball?
Yes.
And remember,
roughly.
And Johnny, I think you were there. We were walking down the street, and this already sounds like a bullshit story, but it's a true story. You were there.
Yeah.
And
I have a memory of it.
And
I don't think so.
These guys were playing basketball, and we started just hanging out with them, whatever, because they were just in the street playing basketball. It was like the middle of the night too. We were pretty drunk, but
yeah,
we started talking to them, and they mentioned how they called themselves Zen Buddhists.
Yeah. They had just gotten back from a trip or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then we started talking to them, and eventually it came up, how did you become Zen Buddhists? And they went into this story about how a year or two ago, they had tried I think it was acid actually, for the first time.
Yeah.
And they took apparently like way more than you're supposed to take ever, let alone your first time, because they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And basically they said the first day was great. They were tripping, whatever. They had a great time. And the second day they woke up and they were like, wow, we really got fucked up because we're still tripping. I guess it will wear off today. And then by the end of the second day, they were like, oh man, I think we did too much because we're still tripping. And then by the third day, they woke up and they realized, uh-oh, I don't think this is going to wear off. And then their conclusion was that the way they got out of it was through Zen Buddhism, which didn't answer if they were still tripping or not.
No, but that's the explanation for why the yogis, like these like meditation masters, when you give them a psychedelic,
they're like, I'm already there.
They've already found a way to channel their mind to just accept everything. And so the feeling of having a bad trip is to be rejecting the crazy things that come up.
Right, yeah.
And so like for the meditators, they found Zen Buddhism, meaning like if they really were perma-tripping, let's say, they found a way to just say yes to what is.
Right.
And that's complete surrender, which is ego surrender, which is like it's like the symbol of Christ on the cross, even, right? And then
It's like handing a torch to a guy like you when you're hammered. Be like, hold this for a minute. Like you're gonna be like, oh shit. Whereas like some like a like a trained swordsman who's sober, if you go, can you hold this? He'll be like, yeah, that's fine. I can even do stuff with it.
right.
Yeah.
Is that a good metaphor for yogis on acid?
I mean, I'm sold for yogis on acid.
I just opened another beer. Can I throw?
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah, go
we're
for
about
it.
to crack one too. So let's do a beer break announcement. I like that idea. This is going to be bad.
so
what
we
I'm about
just-
to
wait,
do.
wait,
We just
yeah, that's
opened
gonna be
a
loud.
I'm about
hop-
to slam it on the tabletop here. That's not going to be good. Oh yeah, that didn't work.
It's called Hoplicity.
Do you not have? Oh, Hoplicity. That's
Yeah,
the
from
Miles Davis
from
one,
Decatur.
right?
That's right.
Isn't it?
From Three Taverns Craft Brewery.
No, I mean like read the description. It's
Decatur,
like based off a
Georgia.
Miles Davis tune, right?
Yeah, Georgia Boplicity.
Yeah. So
It's a,
Johnny, later after
unfiltered
the
IPA.
podcast, you should find that Miles Davis tune and drink this beer. It's hilarious.
Well, I'm drinking it now, but I'll listen to it.
I have an opener.
I'll listen to it while I pee it out later. Is that disrespectful? I'll listen to it while I'm drinking it.
All right,
Listen to it while I pee it out. I mean,
and we have the
either
Sounded
disrespectful or
disrespectful as
factual.
I-
Johnny.
I don't
We
know.
have one you may recognize here. The one that we're going to do next.
I know that.
Would
beer.
you like to announce it actually for us?
No, go ahead. It's your beer.
Well, we
You got it.
have brought to us actually by Johnny, and thank you again for
That's right.
supplying the
I
Johnny
came back
supply.
up with some Johnny Southern
yeah,
beers.
that was solid.
Well, Luke did the legwork.
no, I
just,
appreciate it from both ends for sure. Seeing Double IPA brought to you by Foothills Brewing, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited to
That's
crack
right.
this one open.
Here we go.
Not that Johnny is near that place, but if he were, that's how that would have happened.
You can Foothills is a pretty decent sized mid-range like southeast brewery.
I love how we're still hiding your
you
location.
can get in Georgia, in the
Yeah.
Carolinas, I think Virginia, and southern East Coast brewery.
I think a word I had some of this same brewery beer last night. It's just very drinkable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very balanced for a double
Yeah.
IPA. It's not too hot and boozy. Sometimes you taste that alcohol.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just way too sweet, like too much sugar.
Yeah, I know what
Residual
I know what
sugar.
Luke's saying though, because Foothills in particular, like I feel like I can really like throw those back. Like I can keep going with Foothills
Yep. In fact, every
Yeah, it's
time
very-
I was
for sure.
when I stopped by
They're
that
doing their
brewery
big,
when we were down there last time, I just remembered like getting through beer very quickly
Yeah,
there. 'cause
totally.
It's so drinkable.
Except for the what's that one? The sexual chocolate.
That
Which is,
one
Yeah,
slows you down.
It's coming out again in a couple.
which
of
is
weeks,
actually my favorite. I think that's kind of like one of their flagships, right? The sexual
Have you had the
chocolate.
barrel aged?
I think I had it the last time I was there. Yeah, I think you guys had some. It's fantastic.
The one of the best beers.
It's really good. It's one of my favorite beers. It's really good.
One of the best beers I've had out of there, and I meant to send you up with Luke, because I have a couple. Is the Old Rabbit's Foot. There's 3 breweries in North Carolina. Old Hickory. Yeah, there's only 3. Duck Rabbit
Wow.
Brewing, and
Right.
which I think you've had some of that.
Definitely had some
and
of that. Yeah.
Foothills. And so they collaborate, and they call it an Old Rabbit's Foot, and they all brew like an imperial stout recipe and blend and barrel age it, and it's fucking amazing.
This
But
Seeing Double IPA
that
is
bottle
really
age
sweet.
as well, so maybe we'll crack one for appreciation part 2.
Johnny, the Seeing Double is very sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's
beer.
really good. You know what it reminds me of, and I say this not as not like derisively, but there's something about it that's a little airheady. Like it's almost like that
Yeah.
like kind of like really sharp sweet like thrown in.
Yeah, I get like a candied apricot.
No,
out
that's
of
what
it.
I mean. It's like it's almost like a
Like
candy.
those
yeah.
dried fruit,
Totally.
fruit apricot
Oh, yeah,
things that
yeah.
are all
Yeah,
sugary.
it's very like
Reminds
it's
me
like
of
a
that.
candied vibe. Like not a candy vibe,
Mhm.
but a candied. Yeah.
That's a good book.
Yeah, also great.
We're
book.
gonna link that in the description because one of not only the best books ever in my opinion, but it's like a seminal piece of work to understand because it's referenced either directly or indirectly in so many other classic works. So if you haven't read Candide by Voltaire, I don't know why I'm rambling about
It's
this now.
short and awesome.
It's a novella. It's actually one of the first, Western novellas of modern-ish times because I think it was written in the 1750s or some shit like that. But Cara knows it's awesome, right?
Well, it's just like, hey, fuck this guy. How can I fuck him?
Oh.
Let me keep doing it.
Okay,
Over and over
there's
again.
your review for Candide. I like it.
That's your one sentence. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
book
those were
review.
all
New
semicolons.
segment
It's
by
actually
Cara.
one sentence there. Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes
you
ain't
see
got
the-
nothing on you.
I need to read this
Did you,
book.
did
I
you see
haven't.
they're releasing?
I have it over there. I'll give it to you before you go.
Sounds good.
I don't know
Can
if I
I read
actually
it
have
before
Bam.
I sleep tonight?
You should read it.
Yeah.
It's short. Yeah, it's like 70 pages
Yeah,
or something.
it's one of the best because it's all about because Voltaire was basically like, like religion as I know it seems like bullshit. So I'm gonna talk about like earthquakes and how God's either what's going on there, you know, and just put these characters through horrific situations.
Which is what probably people
Yeah.
he saw in real life.
Yeah,
going
it's
through.
like Game of Thrones meets like satire, basically.
I see.
Yeah.
I would say it's just like it's Game of. I don't get Game of Thrones out of it.
No, I just mean
but-
because like the characters go through such horrific stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like they
No,
literally
I
some of
do
those
think that you have
characters fall apart.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah.
I think you have a problem,
Spoiler.
Joe, because you do tend to compare a vast number of books to Game of Thrones.
I wouldn't
I've
say
noticed.
a vast. I would say it seems appropriate.
Which
sometimes.
I think is a compliment to
But
Game
to
of
be
Thrones.
fair,
well, it's just
Joe
something that
has the problem.
people know, people
You have-
recognize.
Yeah,
it.
you have the problem of reading so many books people are not only have never heard of, but will never hear of. So it's
That's
like,
what I
how
mean.
can you relate to them? You have to
yeah,
put it in some
I'm just
terms
trying to
they'll
connect with the
recognize.
common
Yeah,
person here.
I feel you. I feel you.
That's
bro.
that's what I'm trying to do.
It's really hard to connect with the common folk, y'all.
Oh God, he's in too deep. He was down there too long. We got to get him back.
Also, I listened to the NPR like podcast series like Shit Town, S Town,
Yeah.
and it's filled with Alabama accents. So it's like even when I was
Alabama?
escaping the South, like
Yeah.
I was like being like fed this.
Yeah, you were carrying it with you.
I think
Are you trying to say you're easily indoctrinated, Luke?
Yes. Oh,
I
I've
could
always
see
known
Luke
that about
becoming a
myself.
cultist very easily.
I gotta
yeah.
be. But I know about it now, and it's like a thing you can be careful about. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, when you get too attached to something, you gotta like remember, like, don't be a dog about it.
Whoa.
Bringing it back.
I don't.
Uh,
Are you good at impressions, Luke?
I can.
Luke's good at wanting to do impressions, I think. Does that count?
I can recreate a sound very, very well if it just happened.
Yeah, what
So you could mimic things like a parrot. You're saying you could
I
do
love
it a
that
parrot.
we have a webcam now. Like I could just see Johnny. Like,
Oh, ladies
try
and
to,
gentlemen,
like...
so we should mention we now have webcam access thanks to oh shit, we now have patrons.
Oh, so according to we got a supporter on Patreon, and apparently I'm due to make some sort of thank you poem in Turkish.
And I'm just gonna say thank you right now.
No, in High German.
No.
No,
We
it's-
switched it to Turkish because that seems much more reasonable, as unreasonable as the whole thing seems.
To bring it back again, it's really funny because this particular Patreon was talking to me about dogs today,
Really?
all morning.
That's
this
great.
particular Patreon person, it's someone we know, a friend.
Well, he's gonna be on eventually.
he'll be on
for sure.
eventually, yeah.
Yeah, he's a really smart dude.
He has an amazing dog himself.
Hint, hint, if you're going to get on the show, hashtag payola, hashtag still going strong.
But I would just like to thank him and say we will give him his due for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make a
Yeah.
limerick in Turkish to thank him.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
This
We
is
talked
brilliant
about that.
and
Yeah.
interesting.
Luke's going full
Does-
limerick.
does-
And
does
anybody else can
limerick
get that
work
deal.
in other languages?
Oh, you better
do
believe
they
it.
have
I'm
the
about
right?
to make it work.
Yeah,
Not
Luke's
now,
gonna
not
make it
now.
happen. But this is what
Can't do
happens.
it in real
This is
time,
what
I'm not that
happens if
good
you
yet.
become a $5 subscriber on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently. So just keep that in mind. We only ask that you become a subscriber on Patreon, even if it's the $1. We would
Whatever
appreciate
it is.
that.
By the way, we've been
But-
trying to help our audio get better and better each episode.
We're
learning
getting there
things
slowly.
along the way.
It's a ladder. It's a
but-
mountain.
But yeah, kicking in like whatever
Southern
whatever you
metaphors.
have will help us get to a base level, which is like a $100 to $200 would be give us like if we built up to that. Like
Yeah, we're
over a
close
few
to
months,
we're close to video.
over a few
Yeah.
months we could get a pretty fucking solid audio setup where Johnny
Yeah.
can have whatever crazy southern wizard guests he can find. Joe and I can have guests. We can, when we don't have guests, just have
Yeah.
better audio. So,
Just keep listening, like, share, and subscribe, as
Yeah.
I always say.
Exactly.
I said that to somebody at work yesterday. They were like talking about the podcast with me and somebody else, and I was just like, share, and subscribe, and they were like, what is that? And I
yeah,
was like,
you said that
nothing.
in
I didn't say
mid-conversation
anything.
on, I think it was Saturday night.
Oh, was I did
we
it
were
too.
just talking at a bar, and then like somebody asked us.
Oh, yeah,
like,
that happened
do you
too,
have
yeah.
like a podcast or something? And
Yeah.
Joe's response was just like a dead cold look. He said, like, share, and subscribe.
And then we just kept going, and they were like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Oh, I didn't say anything,"
All right, I think Cara has a science fact for us.
Yeah.
What time are we at here? We're
Yeah,
cruising
I
along
think-
here. Look at this.
I think we're on track to get to our segments, right?
Yeah, totally.
Well, we
We're right on
already
schedule.
have some Joe Fact or Fiction pineapple on the grill
Oh.
simmering.
That was before. Can we give Cara a quick
No.
update?
I'm just saying. I'm just reiterating.
Wait, are
So-
we allowed to use Cara as like a
Sure, why not?
a combatant against Joe's fact or fiction bullshit?
Oh,
How
sure,
about
we
just
can
use
do
her?
that.
Let's just use her as a resource. We don't
But
have
she
to get
might
aggressive
actually
with
know
it.
the answer. That's the problem. So if
That's
Cara,
what I mean. She might just actually know the answer. Like I
okay,
know.
so we'll start with Cara's fact. But Cara, if you know my fact, don't spoil it for them. But we'll see.
No, I'll sit in the corner laughing derisively.
That's perfect. I think that works just fine. So what do you got? What's your mind blower here?
Well, I hope that this blows your mind as much as it does mine. Have you guys ever seen those all-white dogs that look a little sickly, and then you hear that they're deaf? Well, I guess that's pretty funny.
You hear that they're deaf. You can find a better way.
Like
to say
somebody
that.
tells you, like, I have a deaf dog. So okay. The fact is that
I don't know
a
what the
lot
hell
of
you're talking
dogs
about.
that are all white,
Yeah.
are deaf because the pigment-making cells are absent from their ears. And in dogs, they require those cells for a reason that we're not quite sure why to hear.
So are you
So
saying
dog
all
ears are racist.
Yeah, is that
Right?
what you're saying? No, Cara, are you saying that all dogs that are all white can't
No.
hear?
No, she's saying commonly or more commonly.
Or it's more common in dogs that are all white that they
They're-
can't hear?
There are two genes that this is linked to, the Merle gene and the piebald gene. And basically
So
the
it
cells that
sounds
make
made up.
pigment, which you might have heard of this word before, melanocytes, that's what makes, Joe that swarthy Italian look, and the absence will make,
Right.
Luke look like he belongs in Iceland or something.
I could see you having an
could pull off
an
an
Icelandic
Icelandic
accent.
life.
Do an Icelandic accent for me right now.
Hey, how you doing?
Perfect.
Like how you just went to old creepy Southerner. So
That was Tina Fey doing a Southern man. That's what that was.
that is what that was. That is mind blowing, Cara. I did not know that.
But
Well, yeah, because why would pigment have anything to do with hearing? But
are you
but it
are
does.
you saying,
It does.
Cara, that
Yeah.
there's a connection between the actual pigment itself and hearing, or the same gene that's encoded for the pigment encodes an important aspect of hearing?
No,
That sounds smarter.
These cells that make the pigment are absent, and that's what causes the deafness. They think it has to do with potassium channels.
Is it like a
Like our
correlation
potassium-
or a causation kind of vibe?
Causation.
So what does the pigment cells do that in their absence doesn't get done?
There's some poor PhD student right now crying over that exact answer.
Well,
I
that's
see.
good to know.
And yeah, question and answer.
So I was right when I said dog ears are racist.
Dog ears?
Well, those dog ears, they're racist.
Dog ears or ears?
Either way, I don't have a way to follow that up.
So we now have access
Well-
to a veterinarian brain, and I think that will help us solve Joe's fact or fiction, even though me and Johnny nailed it without any help.
Well, are you willing to commit right now to your answer?
I think what you said is false, because
Okay.
definitely more than 100 times more fucking dog smelling ability than humans
Yeah.
have.
Okay, what do you think, Johnny?
I think that Luke just said that like an angry drunk Yoda, which is awesome. I loved it.
That is what happened.
That was
Yeah.
You just rephrased Joe's question a little Yoda-ish, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's fucking bullshit.
Oh,
I
Johnny,
decided
point your
this
mic
week's
down
was
even
false.
more. It got pushed up.
Oh, sorry.
There
Can
you
you
It
hear
got
me?
Yeah,
excited.
perfect.
It went up a little.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger. Hello.
Yeah,
1,
yeah,
2,
you're
3.
good.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Turn your shit off.
Oh, she's
So
that girl at the
unprofessional.
concert.
So aside
yeah, no,
from my
it
Angry
definitely.
Yoda, do you agree with the content of my Angry Yoda?
Oh yes, the delivery, the content, everything.
Yeah, he
It
wasn't
was
judging
perfect.
you. He was
Okay.
agreeing.
I'm seconding what Luke's response. If I could just get a transcript of what he said, that's what my
Can I
opinion.
ask?
That's my
Can I ask you a question though?
official stance.
If you don't think it's 100 times, what do you think it is?
I think it's closer to
like
1,000.
100,000.
So Luke says 1,000.
No,
and,
I think it could be anywhere from 1,000
100,000.
to like 500,000.
and Johnny says 5. Okay, you
what-
both say hundreds of thousands possibly. All right, Kara.
Kara, do you want
Kara
to
probably knows. Kara
correct
probably
us?
knows the answer.
Oh, Joe, ask the question because Luke's Yoda version confused her. I think.
So Kara, the question is, and I'm actually gonna.
Well, it's not a question; it's a statement.
Well, correct.
That's how this works.
So
Kara, you're starting to understand how Joe tries to trick you when he.
I'm not trying to trick anybody.
He's pulling you into his
I have
web
so
as
many
he
better
phrases,
ways.
like, the
I have so many
prefatory
better ways to trick you
sentences.
than that. Don't worry about that. So my claim was that dogs have, and I'll use the scientific term as I've found it, according to science, is that dogs have 100 times as many. I believe the phrase is olfactory
No,
receptors.
wrong.
Is that not it?
Olfactory is smelling. Sorry, you're talking about smelling or hearing?
We're talking about smelling.
Oh, sorry. I thought I misheard. What
No,
you
no,
guys
no.
were
We're talking about
about.
smelling.
Yeah,
So-
you weren't here in the beginning of the
So
podcast.
they have
I guess, when
they have
you read it.
100 times as many receptors as the average human.
And me and Johnny think it's bullshit because we're like, it's got to be more in the thousands, you know?
I say hundred thousands because I'm out of control.
No, I think you might be right. I mean, they can smell explosives where obviously even our electronic detectors can't. That's why we still use dog sniffers, you know?
Yeah, pinpointing a number is something that I'm not familiar with.
Well, I mean,
But
I'm not
do you
asking
think
for
it's
a
something
number.
on the order of hundreds or thousands?
Yeah, I'm just asking, like, what do you think the order of magnitude is here? Like, do you think that's true? Do you think it's way less? Do you think it's way more? Do you think it's about right? Like, what do you, based on your, knowledge, like, where do you lean towards? Like, what end of that spectrum do you err towards or lean towards?
I would probably err towards that that's true.
Yeah?
That it's 100?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's something I'll admit, but
That's fine.
having looked at a few nasal passages on histology,
Mhm.
why not, right?
Okay. So you think you're gonna go with true?
Well,
Wait,
yeah.
Kara,
Well,
don't
one,
let him
I don't
change your
know,
mind
and
because
two, I just would like to be
he's
like, if those fuckers are wrong, then I'm right, and if they're right, then I'll just be like, oh, cool. I guess I need to keep studying in my field.
I like I like how you're going meta on all of us here.
That's why they call it a practice, right?
Oh, shit.
Bam.
Also,
you're
Kara,
still
that
working
method
on
works
it?
way better if you just keep it like below the surface. But now we know that you're just playing the safe card. So, anyways,
Oh.
no, I mean,
Damn.
it's actually not the safe card because if she's right, she's really right. But only if you didn't tell us you were just doing it for that reason.
Okay, so
She's not trying to genie you, Luke. You're seeing conspiracies
Yeah, Luke's
everywhere.
already
What is
Johnny.
she up
Luke's
to?
I
already
tried to listen to our
Luke-
episodes on
No,
conspiracies.
no,
and
Luke's
work out
already
how-
warming up for Johnny Genie. That's
Yeah,
what he's doing. He's prepping himself for Johnny Genie to
All right,
come.
so Joe, tell us the truth.
So the truth
In fact.
in fact, is that. So I'll start with the average human has about 5 million of these receptors.
which receptors?
The olfactory
Nose.
receptors.
Let's just call them nose holes.
Tiny nose holes. The average human has
Tiny
5 million.
Tiny nose
Hold on,
holes.
wait. So you guys like to link stuff. Can you guys link transmission electron microscope image of olfactory
Definitely.
receptors because they're fucking beautiful.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I like that idea. Yeah.
We'll get that sent over to the Thunk Tank Central.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
we'll
well,
have the people who work on
I mean,
post
we have
do
a
that.
team of
Well,
at
is
least
working
10
on it.
people that
We'll have the,
working around the clock,
At any time.
putting
Yeah.
putting together all of the amazing.
they're a bunch of
things they do.
assholes named Joe and Luke. they're all.
Oh, see, I was gonna say they're underpaid, so please link share.
Oh, they're
Oh.
definitely underpaid.
Yeah, you're getting it, Kara.
Yeah, thank you, Kara, to the rescue. Yes. So the average
5 million.
the average human has 5 million of these receptors, whereas the average dog has about 220 million, which is only a multiple of about 44 times as many.
Really?
That's
Is
still
it? No.
44 times as many,
Which
dude.
still makes your fact false.
Of course it's false, but it's false for the opposite reason.
Doesn't matter. We got it right.
If you want to call that getting it right, yeah.
Johnny, do you call that getting it right?
What?
I would like to
We
say.
got it right, but it's less than 100. It's not in the hundreds of
Can I say?
thousands.
I think carrot.
Oh yeah, we said false.
No,
the
but
question wasn't.
No, but
yeah,
I
we
think
were
I
right.
think I think if you really ask the nature of the question or the fact or fiction, I think Kara's more right than you guys.
Kara's way more right.
I consider myself right.
I agree with you,
but
Kara.
that's just
Kara's
a
way
baseline
more
in
right
my life.
in like the real world, but in this fake world of like a multiple choice test where it's true or false.
But that's
me
why
and Johnny got 100.
I think
and
considering
you and
both
Kara
things-
failed.
But multiple guess, as you've said in previous podcasts, is bullshit. So
I
and
agree.
you said in those exact examples, I try to sniff out the bullshit,
Yeah.
and you didn't do it. You sort of did it here.
I sniffed it out just like I thought.
You didn't
that,
sniff it out to
like,
completion.
The piece of gold was the piece of shit, and then I called that shit, and now the real shit was something else.
You're saying shit a lot.
I got
Yeah,
100.
You said shit like 3 times in that sentence.
Oh, are we not allowed to curse on this?
Well, every time we do, we get fined by the FCC.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's why you have to donate, folks. Like,
Yeah. No, we're
just
tanking
give us
here.
$1 one
Yeah.
time. You can
Yeah.
cancel it after 1 month, but
Yeah.
we
you
just
know,
need to
tax
pay our
brackets.
Yeah.
tax brackets.
But the point is that even by times 44 or 45 or whatever, that's still an insane, like, they're 44 times better at smelling than we are.
I thought it was way more than that, to be honest.
But nevertheless, that's still like a huge difference. You know what I mean? It's like even if our eyesight is quote unquote, I don't know how much better it is, but even if it's like 10 times better, like their smell is way better than probably our eyesight is compared to them.
Yeah, it's higher
So-
resolution, so
Right?
to speak.
Kara, does that check
I
out?
have a sad fact about dog smelling though.
Why?
But
So, sniffer dogs that are used for like bombs, drugs, or
Rock and roll?
bodies. So a dog, like, you can't just train them and then have them never get that reward.
Why not?
So why? Because they feel like they're failures and they literally will go kind of insane.
Oh, that's like their purpose, basically.
Yeah. And so, like when you're doing the training, you have to like plant things to make sure that eventually they find something.
Right.
So I have 2 sad facts on this. The first one's way less sad than the second. The first one is that there have been tests done on drug dogs where they've sent out teams of policemen with their drug dogs, and they send them into a couple different rooms, and the policemen are so expecting that one of these rooms will have it that they cue the dogs to find something even when there's not there, because the dog's so willing to please the handler. So if you ever, any of our listeners, get searched by a dog, fucking question it. Even if you have drugs, just question it and then, later chuck them in the woods, unless it's super illegal. Don't do meth.
I would say especially if you have drugs, question it, because you're fucked at that point. So you might as well try to get out of it, right?
Checks out.
And the second really sad fact is that during the search and rescue missions after the tragedy of 9/11, never forget,
well said,
they had
well
to
said.
plant people. They had to plant like live people in the rubble, because otherwise the dogs went insane because they wouldn't find anybody. Because most of the time they would either find like tiny bits of people or like small
who
remains.
put
So
live people in the rubble?
it would be like another fireman.
Oh, they
like
would just
the-
do
Have
it.
you ever, fucking Giuliani, he was out there just shoving fucking homeless people into crevices. That motherfucker did not give a fuck. You gotta give him credit for that. He knew how to
A lot of
handle
people
crisis.
think
God, you sound like
9/11,
such
they
a
think
New
of
Yorker.
certain things, but they don't think of like Giuliani shoveling homeless people into the crevices of the fallen World Trade Center.
Get in there. We'll pull you out in 10 minutes and give you a sandwich, you piece of shit. Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
And then put
That's
you
how
on
you
a
get
boat
shit
out in
done.
the sound.
Oh man.
Isn't that what he did? Didn't he put
He
all
did.
the homeless on a boat somewhere?
No, he put him on a plane and sent him to San Francisco.
Did he really?
He definitely did, probably, maybe, allegedly, both of those.
I spent
But,
2 weeks
yeah,
in
there's
San
reports he
Francisco
sent
last summer.
homeless people-
It's not a nice
sent-
place in terms of the homeless population.
Really?
Supposedly they
Insane.
shipped a bunch out, but he also got accused of what Joe's talking about. Is
He put him on a boat, didn't
the
he?
UN, yeah, it was the UN was there or something, and he wanted to make the city look better, so he put him on a cruise ship and just had him like circle the go out into the sound and come back during everyone's like helicopter rides.
But how
in
do you
to
round up
make
homeless
the city
people?
look
You
nicer.
just like send somebody to the homeless shelter, and it's like, oh yeah, we're going on a trip. Like, head to the dock. Like, they put them on a bus. What was the actual? How did that function?
if I'm living in a homeless
They
shelter
may have just
and
tricked
somebody
them.
comes in and says, "Hey, you want we'll give you some free methadone and you want a free meal and like a bed to sleep in on a boat?" I'll be like, "I don't give a fuck where it is. You had me at food.
No, you had
I
me at
don't- for the
methadone.
bed." At methadone, yeah. I don't care about the rest. Yeah, sure, let's do it. And then you get the food and stuff. It's like, all right, and then they drop you back off. I would have liked to stay on the boat, but I guess that was cool. But it's just a fucked up way to deal
And now
with
you
the
make the
problem.
boat a plane, and you make where they end up San Francisco.
Yeah, it's a bit more long-term solution.
I think we need to research this more because this sounds fascinating, but I don't know enough about it.
Oh yeah.
Is that burial? What is
Yep.
that? It is burial.
Yep.
Johnny's holding up a burial
They're
beer to
about
the
to
camera.
open
It's
a new beer.
their Thresher. Have you had this one?
I don't think I've had this one. Does that say brewed with coffee?
It's a golden saison ale brewed with coffee.
That sounds fucking
Nice.
fantastic, dude.
That sounds great.
Burial's become. I have one downstairs I might bring up in a bit.
Asheville, North Carolina.
Because it's become like we've had it in a couple
I had
episodes now.
their
Yeah.
collaboration with Other Half just last night, actually.
Yeah.
And Cara, I know it wasn't one of your favorite
Actually-
beers, but
Oh, don't say that on live. We don't have to spread that. Lies. Fake news.
False, wrong, loser. Go on, Kara. I got you,
thought it was
Cara.
good.
So actually, they're releasing another next weekend that I haven't told Johnny, but I'm going on again. Which obviously is gonna be a really long drive because we're located slightly out of the Carolinas, but I'm going out for another Other Half burial release next weekend.
Nice.
It's they're lagers, but one of them has got like honey and awesome shit.
If you really like craft beer and you're within 5 hours driving of Asheville, North Carolina, you should just go for a weekend because there's like 30 fucking breweries and you're gonna find some cool shit you like that you didn't know about.
Wait, Luke.
Which...
Luke, did you have anything good to eat down there that might have been like made of corn and fried and?
Are y'all talking about hush puppies?
There you go. That's the one, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you have some?
No, not.
I didn't have
not
any
in
with you.
particular.
Really?
No.
Have you had them?
What?
No, I mean not while I was down.
Not while I was down there.
What was your favorite new Southern thing you experienced this trip?
I guess it was just the vibe.
I guess.
I guess it was just like there was an energy I sort of settled into, a wavelength. I was thinking actually pretty deeply about this, like hearing the Georgia accents and then catching a little bit of like South Carolina and then catching a little bit of like further up north.
Farther.
And they're all so different, and they all seem to like capture some kind of like cultural vibe at the same time that they're just a weird way to say words.
Well, if you count
It's
the whole
farthing.
if you count the whole thank you, Johnny. If you count the whole South, that's like the size of half of Europe, probably.
And it's not a surprise
it's a
that
big
people say
region.
things differently, but it's also not just how they say it, it's what they say. Like, are y'all fixing to make some lunch? And if you don't know that fixing to make lunch means like trying to make lunch, like wanting to make lunch, like it means so many other things than
Yeah.
what they actually said.
Right.
What did Nathan keep saying? Might could?
Yeah,
Could,
so like
might?
a
What
Georgia
was it?
thing is like, oh, I might could go.
Might could?
And it really means like,
Oh.
but Johnny, do you know what I find so fascinating about the might could thing from the South?
What's that now?
In Turkish, the same verb ending to say I am able to do something versus I might do something. So to say I can go, like I am able to go, you say gidebilirim. And to say I might go, you say gidebilirim. It's like might and could are the same phrase. So because both are a potential of something that could happen in the future. So it's almost like a redundant thing, except for the cases that like it isn't redundant. Like when you say I might not be able to go, you're implying that the fault is with someone else, right? Like I want to go, but it's someone else's reason that I can't go. Whereas if you say I might not go, it means like I might decide not to go.
Hashtag married life.
So I think the phrase might could in the South, it just got confused because they realized there's a connection between might and could, but they didn't know how to like work it out, so they just said both really quickly.
By the way, Luke, this Thresher golden coffee saison is fire, and you would love it.
Oh yeah? Can you Skype me some?
Yeah, here you go.
Just pour it right into the microphone.
Yeah, folks, this is why we need some financial help. Like, we pour beer into microphones almost every episode.
Actually, that Patreon, hopefully you're listening. Could you please invent us something to just molecularize it between
Skype
two
beer?
locations? I think that's called transportation.
I think it's
What am I
called
thinking
trans.
The blue guy from X-Men.
Teleportation.
Yeah, that one.
Teleportation. Beer teleportation.
If you can figure out how to
I
teleport
do
beers,
wonder
yeah.
why isn't there a beer of the month clubs? Somehow they figured out how to ship wine through the mail and it's legal and you can get wine delivered to your house,
They do it with
your
beer too,
office,
Johnny.
whatever. But I've never seen
There are
that.
a
Why
few companies
I always
that-
thought it
that-
was
that-
illegal to ship beer.
There's a few companies that I've heard about that like do like a monthly beer shipment of like various craft beers.
I don't know how that's legal though.
We should have them as an affiliate sponsor. We'll announce like a link and then
Maybe if we order it, let's sign up and do some
we should
reviews
try
of it
it.
on the
We
cast.
should try it first, like
Yes.
so that we know if it's
'Cause if
good.
it sucks, yeah.
Oh, guys,
Fuck 'em then.
a dog just entered into the room. His name is Ricky.
Oh.
Show me him.
I will.
Our dog is in the other room because he's sleepy.
Ricky is not capable of like ruining the podcast in terms of like wire rippage. Worf
The way
is
Worf
capable
could,
of
yeah.
ripping my arm off. He's like so much pure muscle, you know.
Well, Worf, his favorite position is on my lap, and as a 60-pound dog, there's lots of microphone wires that get in the way here. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a difference between able and capable. I don't think he's capable of ripping your arm off, Luke.
Oh, I got you.
But he's definitely able to.
So, Cara, I want to give
but-
a quick shout out to a moment I had. I think I was like 21 or 22.
with Dutch.
With Dutch, yeah. I was watching. Well, I had gotten to know Cara's dog, who has passed away, but it's the dog you grew up with, right, Cara?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much, we got him when I was 14 after
Yeah, yeah.
years of begging.
Dutchy boy.
So I had gotten to know him a few times, but it was like one time you were away or something. Your parents went away, so your dog needed to be like watched over. I think I just crashed at your house and like house sat / dog sat, and me and Dutch just like got to know each other. And I remember having this moment with Dutch one time where it was the first time I had the thought that like staring up at the night sky and seeing the stars is the same. You're connecting with the universe. It's the same as staring into a dog's eyes. You're just connecting with a different
I like that.
zoom of the universe. And I was sitting on the floor with a jar of peanut butter and a spoon, and I was eating peanut butter, and like Dutch looked at me like, "Come on, dude, I love peanut butter." So I gave him some peanut butter, and we were both going and just like gnawing on peanut butter and looking at each other in the eye, just like, man, isn't this life great?
All right, Luke. I think you're giving me a good segue into my segment. So.
That sounds about
So
appropriate.
tribute
Into
to
the
Dutch.
winter wrap.
Tribute to Dutch.
Yeah.
So I have two actually. I want to do both this
Oh
week,
man,
okay?
ladies and gentlemen, for the record, I can see on screen right now, Johnny has what looks like a board of. Oh, it's a notepad, or it's a. What is that exactly?
It's a legal
Pad with his genie.
It comes with our lawyers on retainer fee.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
which is why like, share, and subscribe, support Patreon.
Help us keep our lawyers.
Yeah, help
We
us
need
keep
it.
our genie lawyers.
Yeah.
We got a lot of lawyers to pay for
Yeah.
here. We say a lot of
So
shit.
he's ready. He's coming. We gotta.
So-
Let's crack our fingers,
Yeah,
Luke.
no,
let's.
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's rub our
All right.
necks here. He's ready.
So
okay.
first one's a warm up.
Oh God.
I think it's pretty obvious.
Oh God, that's
Okay.
terrifying.
Your brain inside of a dog. You still understand English and everything, but like you're happy with a dog. Like you get jazzed about things that dogs get excited about. So you're not like, you're not like, oh man, I miss peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You're like, this dog food tastes great because I have a dog's mouth. But you're still you.
But
right?
I'm like Joe.
You're Joe. You understand. I can be like, hey, are you Joe? And you can like spell it out in the sand and be like, yeah, I'm a dog now.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Gotcha.
And I'd be
Yeah.
like, wow.
Gotcha.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a dog, but you're you still, or no more dogs on Earth. or cats.
I love how you
you
like
get to
paused
stay-
and said,
Yeah.
You get to
Yeah.
stay
In
you.
case you're a cat person, no cats.
You can be a human still, but yeah, no more cats or dogs.
I have a question for you. Can I domesticate wolves into dogs?
Wolves are gone too.
Oh shit! Why'd I ask?
Folks, this is what happens when you
That's
try
on
to
you,
negotiate.
Jay.
with
That
the
is on
genie.
me.
It doesn't always go
I
well.
realize
No.
The wolves
been
would have
too
been
nice
fine,
lately,
but for
so-
you
Yeah.
asking that question.
Yeah, no, the genie's he's hitting hard tonight. So, but now we know he's hitting hard
we
tonight.
know, like,
yeah.
don't fuck with the genie.
Yeah, don't push him. He's ready to
Well,
push
we
right
kept the
back.
genie waiting. Like, we started
Okay.
a bit late. We were trying to figure out. I tried to do some like fancy audio setup and like realized it would totally not work. And then
Oh, I
just
don't even know if my mic
defaulted.
is on
Just
right now.
please
Yeah.
the genie.
Yeah.
Don't
You
squeeze the
angry.
genie.
Yeah, don't squeeze the genie, ladies and gentlemen. That's the name of the
good life
segment.
advice.
Yeah, don't squeeze the
That's
genie.
not what I said. I said you displeased,
Oh.
but I like that as a
I
better
like that
one
way
than
better.
Squeeze
Don't
the
squeeze
genie.
the genie.
I'm more likely to repeat the
That's a
phrase
bunch of
"don't
bumper
squeeze the
stickers.
Yeah.
genie" than
I'm gonna get that.
All right,
we
so-
should have that as a bumper
So
sticker
you're
for
a
Patreon
dog, or
subscribers.
no one gets dogs.
Oh wait, that would be a perfect bumper sticker. Don't squeeze the genie.
Like a
and
giveaway,
it's just like a
yeah.
picture of Johnny, but with like a genie bottom, and he's just looking at you like,
Don't
fuck
squeeze
off.
me,
Don't
dude.
squeeze
Yeah.
me.
Fucking squeeze me, bro.
And no, it will say as a caption, "Don't squeeze me, bro."
Yeah.
All right, we'll take care of
We'll
that.
work on that.
Yeah, we'll work
Or
on
we'll
that. Yeah.
forget that we just said that, and then
Well, it's on the podcast now.
yeah, but I don't listen to it.
Yeah, you do.
I don't listen to this shit.
I don't pay $1. I'm not a Patreon
yeah.
subscriber. I'll take false.
That's your segment.
So-
That's not-
I know. I was trying to
all
throw you
okay.
off. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you
I'm
guys?
sorry, Genie.
Do you
Don't
guys
hurt me.
think?
it's pronounced falsetto.
Oh, right. Because I got
Do you
trolled.
guys think there
Well,
are more happy dogs and cats on Earth than suffering, or more suffering than happy?
Absolutely more suffering.
Wait,
There's more suffering people, and we figured out HVAC and cell phones and
Do
airplanes.
you think it balances
So yeah,
out?
definitely.
Do you
what?
think it balances out? Like, is the
HVAC.
good enough to warrant the bad? Let's just keep it to animal suffering, not humans.
Are you trying to justify deleting dogs and cats
And wolves?
on a humanitarian?
no, I see what I see
And
what Luke
wolves.
is saying, because I think from a purely pragmatic standpoint, like
You're trying to game it, Luke.
No,
This is
no,
how
no.
you lose gerbils and hamsters.
I mean,
too.
you don't have to answer my philosophical questions. You're a genie. You don't care. You're a psychopath.
No.
Blue.
don't
freak.
call him that. Oh God, Jesus, we definitely lost
You got a
gerbil
problem
and
with blue
hamsters now,
people, you
Luke.
fucking racist.
Wait, so this scenario is like the genie is just like holding a gun to our head, and he can always just like
It
fuck
feels
us
like
over
it,
more?
yeah.
Genies don't eat guns.
Well,
but yeah.
it's
Proverbially,
yeah.
yeah.
It's might as well be a gun. Like
It's a genie gun.
you can just be like, you know what? The scenario's the same, except either way you don't have a penis anymore, and I'll be like, fuck.
He
I
can
should've been
always
nice to
he
the
can
genie.
always throw in castration at any moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you got to be
Yeah,
careful.
if you guys don't answer soon, I'm ready to take parrots away too.
Oh God.
Just parrots.
No, I like dolphins.
Well, so like the reason I phrased that question that way is I was just thinking like, there's this thing I've heard in philosophy called like the happy cow idea, which is like if you were to get rid of all like needing to get meat from like a living cow,
Right.
why make a brain that has all this meat that you then kill when you can just grow the meat in a lab one day, right?
Right,
Which
yeah,
we're
sure.
getting close to.
Yeah, cows wouldn't exist if it wasn't for us.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that
and
makes
so
sense,
the idea
yeah.
is like, of course, like there's so much awful things that go on in factory farming and the disgusting ways that people kill animals. But at the
Kara's
same
like,
time,
nah,
it's
it
like,
tastes good.
if a cow was alive and actually lived a happy life, that's if your view of morality in the universe is that you want to create as much positive like
Well,
happy
that and the
experiences of
euthanasia
conscious
methods are made to be
creatures.
as painless and easy as possible. So.
Well,
Well,
that's
why
what I
wouldn't
mean.
they?
Like,
Yeah.
if they are killed instantly, like I guess recently there's legislation that changed about that you can't drop lobsters directly into boiling water in some states.
What do you mean I can't? Who's gonna know if I do it?
Meaning that nobody knows if you torture your dog either, but it's not legal,
Right, like I
um,
couldn't do it in a restaurant.
technically you
right?
have to
So
give
how do you have to kill the lobster now? You got to smash its fucking
No,
head
you
in.
have to
That's
give
more
it
humane.
like some sort of like something that stuns it and makes it like just
we're anesthetized. We're giving lobsters lethal fucking injections now. Is that
First
what
of all,
you're
who the fuck drops live lobsters
Somebody
into
told me this
boiling
today.
pots of
I
water?
didn't
Yeah.
look it up.
That was literally my childhood, actually, Joe. So.
Really?
That's besides the point.
Yeah, it's fresher that way. You
how
really
much-
taste the feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say-
it pairs with butter.
But that's what I
very
mean.
well.
Like, just have a regular fucking lobster. Like, why do you need to do that?
What? That's how
That's how you cook lobster. Yeah, you drop it in alive for freshness. Because it's a fucking
Same with a
spider
crawfish
crab.
broil, man.
They're related to
They just
mosquitoes.
drop the crawling crawfish.
They're bugs. They don't.
I feel like
they
it's
don't
I feel like
keep
it's
well,
overkill, man.
You know.
Just smash his fucking head in, like you said first.
Yeah, but you're gonna smash its head in right before you drop it in the pot anyway. So you just drop it in.
It seems like
You don't crack
it
the
seems
shell
like a
that way.
dick move.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
a little
so,
bit of a
so
dick
is
move,
force
yeah.
feeding a goose because its liver fails and it's delicious. Like,
I don't do that either.
you've definitely had pate before, and it's
Pad thai.
amazing.
Foie gras.
Foie
I'm not
gras.
saying I haven't had it, but like I
gras.
don't do it as like a regular
Foie gras
practice.
pate. No, I know, but you've done it. You're complicit in the system.
Johnny, I've done a
Had it
lot of
before.
things I'm not proud
Just
of.
as
but
bad as the guy shoving the funnel in that goose's mouth.
I don't think I'm as bad as the guy who is just like, yeah, that's what I do because I kind of like it.
Joe.
Well,
You should check your privilege because you assume he's Southern when it's really a French
way
thing.
bigger,
you
like,
asshole.
It could be a
Philosophical
Southern
debate.
Frenchman. You don't know that. You're assuming that my
Southern
assumption
France.
is not
Not
that.
the same. Southern France is not the same thing as a Southern Frenchman. Okay.
Wait, what?
You bullshit genie technicalities.
Wait,
What were you gonna say?
we never
I'm
answered
saying
the
like
question.
Let's get
this
back
is
to the
actually
dog
part of
question.
like a bigger philosophical debate.
Of course
like,
it is, yeah.
About morality and animal consciousness and how that fits into a bigger picture. My question.
I know, bitch. That's why I picked it.
My question was simply like, am I doing a net bad or a net good to the world if I were to delete dogs forever?
Right.
Like, let's just keep it at dogs because I
Well, then
find
it becomes
myself
about
most connected to
self-sacrifice
dogs.
too.
Well, it comes down to like, would I sacrifice myself by becoming a dog, like getting stuck in a dog's body, so to speak?
Yeah,
right?
who's gonna take care of me if I'm a dog?
I have to find my own way, I assume.
Yeah. Are you gonna take care of me? Do I get to live in genie land?
What if me and Cara adopt you?
Wait. So in this scenario, you're just actually you, like.
Do you know I'm?
I would probably give you. I'd probably treat you like a person.
Do you
since
know-
I know you from.
Do you
your
know
person
I'm
days.
Joe?
So you're probably better off. Yeah. If you communicate it to me correctly.
I am gonna rub your tummy.
I'm
I mean,
down, I
you've
guess.
done that before anyway, so
I definitely won't let her cut your balls off.
that's actually
How about that?
That's actually
a good
most
point.
important,
That's a good
yeah.
point.
I promise that you won't get your balls cut off because that's not fair because you'll miss
That
it.
means a lot coming from a
Work doesn't
genie
remember
too.
having
Yeah,
it.
that's huge. That's
Because
huge.
if we were genie cops and you didn't know it and you made a promise you
Yeah.
can't keep, you go to genie jail.
I don't think that has come up since we started officially recording.
No, but it's just a general policy. Like if we notice the genie is not being reasonable,
Yeah.
So
we're gonna
about
call the undercover
every
genie
system-
cops.
So for the record, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny never knows for sure if we're not in fact genie cops
Yeah, in disguise.
undercover,
Yeah.
making sure that his genie morale. We talked about this, Johnny.
He
how
needs
it's like
to have a sharp genie
it's like
morale.
the Q continuum
'cause-
from Star Trek, where it's like, wait a minute, you're a god and you're abusing your god powers.
Well, because a genie is sort of an immortal-y kind of being. So
Yeah.
I would never know because you guys could go undercover for like a whole mortal lifetime.
Right,
So
yeah.
I'll just fuck up all for another 50 years and you'll be like, we got so much dirt on you.
Yeah, they just
you
built
Yeah,
a
those
strong
monkeys
like
so
the
bad.
Mueller
case.
investigation. It's like
So-
we're slow ball on
Yeah.
the
this
kind
shit.
of case that just
Exactly,
like,
it's the
holds tight
slow
in
burn,
jury
yeah.
court.
Right. Yeah.
So
we're
you
building
guys,
a
even
case.
though,
Yeah.
I don't want people to think just because after this episode, oh, I guess they're not undercover. You might be for the next 30 years. And I
The
just
whole
don't
time,
know.
the whole podcast, it turns
The
out,
whole podcast.
Yeah,
And
we
this
the
whole
whole
podcast
undercover
could be a setup.
against Johnny Genie.
Just
Yeah.
to just it's
Exactly.
just genie entrapment, which I'll fight that in court, genie court. Anyways,
I'll fight that blue tail and handcuffed wrists.
You had to get like fantastically racist about it.
Wait, that was just from
Mention my
Aladdin.
blue tail.
Why can't
I
he
think
have
the
a
dog
pink
just
tail?
farted. I think the dog just farted.
Ricky totally just farted.
Ricky just farted.
Ricky,
Speaking
come
of dog-
fart on us. Come on, boy.
Okay, my dog's farts are the size of Ricky, so I don't.
Ricky,
feel
come,
bad for it.
come.
So, Johnny, I think the reason I like your Would You Rather and Would You Rathers in general is it triggers like a deeper discussion. I forget what it's called, but people should look up. If I can find it, I'll post it. There's just a philosophy about something with the words happy cow. And the whole point is that for a cow to live a net positive life, it might be better than it not existing at all. And so I'd be worried about killing off all dogs. And you know what? Fuck it. I'll take the sacrifice. I'll become a dog myself.
Yeah, I'll be a dog. I've been a human long enough.
And if you are really my owner,
You don't think
Johnny,
you'll enjoy it?
I'm gonna fucking hump the
No, that's what I mean.
front of your leg every morning.
You don't want to play that game,
Oh.
Luke. I'm in control of the peanut butter. You still can't open jars. You're a dog.
I'm in control of the peanut butter.
I would set
Don't
up a
give Luke
system,
control of the
seriously.
peanut butter.
I would probably have some kind of system, like tapping system. So it could be, what do you want to watch? You want to watch Planet Earth?
Yeah, but I know how
You
to
wanna
use
watch
the
Parks and
internet,
Rec?
bro. Like, I'm gonna be like
Recreation?
your little pet dog, but you go to work, and
And he has bowls and peanut butter.
I can figure
like,
out how to use my
or
claws
we could
to,
make
like,
a lot
get
of money
online.
together. Luke, we could make a
Oh,
lot
God.
of money together if you're a sentient dog, you know.
Yeah, but like, how am I gonna see the proper benefits of that?
he'll feed you more peanut butter.
Golden dog dish, yeah. Perfect bed, treats, belly rubs, all that's standard things.
I don't know if I want you to rub my belly. I just want you to like
You're gonna get
put-
your belly rubbed,
put-
bro.
Well, if you
put
don't
two
want
of your
that,
fingers
then
into a
nobody
peanut butter
gets any
jar
dogs.
and like scoop it out, and I just sensually lick peanut butter off of your two fingers.
I think how
No,
Luke's
that's
already
weird.
going sensual.
I don't do that with my non-sentient dog. Why would I do that with you?
Yeah, I would go with dog
Really
too.
weird.
How
I
do
think,
you know
I
the
think I would
dog's
become
not
the
an
dog.
undercover Ginny agent, like keeping an eye on you?
That's why I was talking to him the other day. That's what I was asking him. Remember at the beginning of the podcast?
Yeah,
I was trying to
full
figure
circle,
out, are you a
full
narc,
circle.
bro? You got to tell me
Yeah.
if you're a narc.
Bro, we're cool.
So yeah, I pick becoming a dog.
All right.
yeah,
You pick being a dog,
I would
Joe?
go dog too. Yeah, fuck it.
Kara?
I'm already a dog. It's not a difference. It's not a choice.
There you go.
So that's why I have a second. I
I-
have a second one.
I think I'm a dog
Kara
too.
said it all,
Real
but
quick.
yeah, that checks out.
All right. The second one
He's
is,
got his
all right.
notepad, his legal pad.
Shut up.
His legal genie
I
pad.
knew I wasn't gonna remember both, so I had to write them down. Shut up. So, would you rather dogs can understand what you're saying, and they'll generally listen? You know, you can be like, "I'll give you this food if you do just what I say," and then you do it. They'll be like, "Yeah, sure."
Okay.
Like they understand that. But you're never allowed to own a dog, or
Oh, that's
everyone
tough.
else but you can talk to dogs, and you can own as many dogs as you want, and I'll just pay for their upkeep as a genie. That's a good one, right?
That's tough, dude. I really want a dog.
Joe, can you say it in non-genie lawyer speak for me?
He's saying basically.
Hey, Luke, did you get any of that?
I got
Yeah,
78.3% of it.
All right, you can speak to dogs.
Okay.
And they'll follow your instructions. Like they get it. They understand you and they can like follow along. But you can never own a dog.
Okay.
If you have that power, you can't ever
I
own
can't
your
ever
own
have a dog live in
Or-
the same house as me.
Right. Or everyone else but you has this ability. But you can own as many dogs as you want, and I'll just magically take care of them financially for you. Like you just get food and medical bills paid for by my genie account.
Could I preface this by I don't know if you guys have discussed this, but by a raise of voices, with the exception of the last year and a half, how many of us have owned dogs?
So I haven't owned a dog in a long time, but I did. There was a period, I guess it was about 3 years ago, where there was a dog that I would watch regularly, and then I watched it for about like 3 or 4 months and got super attached to it. And
Yeah.
the way you get attached to a dog as an adult is different than as a kid. There's a certain there's a great way you get attached to a dog when you're growing up with one, but like ultimately the dog is like mostly attached to like the dad or the whoever is taking most care of it. Sometimes it's the mom, obviously, but in my case it was my dad. And so to like be like one of the main like interfaces with the dog, you like feel the full attachment of having a dog, and that's the closest I've gotten in like recent Luke adult life.
Oh, so you had one growing up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had a golden retriever called Jake.
I never knew
I
that
didn't know that
about
either,
you.
yeah.
So that's why you fucking love Dutch. Dutch was a golden retriever
We got
when
him
we
in
were talking about it
like
before.
third grade, and we had to put him to sleep in like 7th grade or so.
Oh wow.
Because he had a seizure disorder.
Damn.
So we put him on like
They're really
Phenobob
inbred
for a
dogs.
while, and like we kept upping the dose of
I'm
Phenobob.
sorry. Did you just say Phenobob?
What's it called?
That's your local neighbor. And
No, that's a seizure medicine, right?
Phenobarb.
Phenobarb.
Sorry, you just said Phenobob, and it made it sound,
Like
like
the
like oh,
medication was
go
made by Bob
knock
down
on the
the
door.
road.
Phenobob gets him.
You got Gina Bob, You got Tina Bob. You got Fina Bob. That whole family's Bobs.
So I'm gonna
Sorry.
hit the bathroom real quick and think about this would you rather, and then try to have an answer by the time I get
And
back.
then we'll
out.
pick that fruit.
Then we'll pick that fruity turd hanging from the tree.
That's a tough one though, because I have a
But
Ricky
people
here, and he was just in my lap for a while, and I was just petting him, and he was just like kind of doing the whole like, oh yeah, pet me, and it's pretty great, like just to be like, oh yeah, you're a dog, I'm a monkey person, and we're just gonna do
just
that.
get along,
Yeah, we're just
yeah.
gonna do that. Like, you need pets, I need to give pets, so let's go with that vibe.
Well, and so in this new world, in the second scenario that is proposed,
Yeah.
it's no change for you. It's no change other than
Everybody else changes.
Because
yeah.
I already can't I mean my dog is slowly learning English. He's getting there.
Yeah.
But I already have to. We would have to hire somebody to learn more training. So it'd just be like, oh, you can literally have anybody else in the world come and be like, listen, dog, please don't bark at the mailman, or
Right.
yo, don't shit on my clothes.
Right.
That'd be cool. And anybody, you could probably find people to do it for free.
That's true.
Oh, no, I'm saying I would own one, but not talk to it.
Right. Okay. I mean, ultimately, I really like the idea of being able to have dogs, and I feel like if everybody else could have dogs and I couldn't, and they could talk to theirs, what would change about society? What?
There'd be dogs everywhere because you could take them anywhere. You could take them into a hospital
right.
anywhere. Don't attack anyone.
Right.
Don't be a dick. They would just understand you. It would be such a different relationship.
Wait, so...
Do not sniff that woman's butt. Do not stop. God,
But that doesn't mean that
Good.
they would stop. It just means that you can order them not to stop.
I wonder in this genie experiment world how long I ran it for before dogs became more intelligent.
Isn't that a Rick and Morty episode?
Yeah.
Where are my balls?
Oh yeah, where are my testicles, Summer? Where have they gone? That's an intense line of questioning.
he does ask a great question. For people that don't know, we're talking about a TV show where a mad scientist gives a dog some sentience, and he starts wondering why dogs are where they are in society. And he asks the human a question. He goes, "Tell me, if you had a child that was born deformed, would you breed it with another deformed human to create a deformed offspring like the dachshund?" And she's like,
Where are my testicles?
Yeah, and then he starts asking where his testicles is, and she's like, "This is really intense questioning."
Yeah.
By the way, there are so many amazing things about Rick and Morty, but one of them is that no matter pick a fucking episode, pick the simplest plot line that you can think of. There's no way to explain it to its totality. It just always
I agree with
doesn't
that, Cara.
come close to being how amazing that each episode is, particularly the Hive
And
Mind.
there's continuity between them too, which is really cool. You'll see shit that crosses over where you're like, oh yeah, that's a reference to a former adventure where they explored this philosophy or some shit like that, So, yeah, I don't know.
Great.
I mean, I think I kind of like the idea of being able to have a dog. I don't give a fuck about people being able to talk to dogs. I'd rather just keep the status quo. It works fine,
Yeah, but you're changing things either way, though. There is no status.
No, I'm not. The other scenario is I just have dogs, right?
You can have a dog if you want.
That's what I mean. But
Either everyone else on Earth can speak to dogs, or you have this ability, but you can't have a dog.
But what do you mean by speaks to dogs? Do they have the mental capacity of a human all of a sudden?
They understand what you're trying to tell them, though.
Yeah, but
What,
so I
Dr.
translate it
Dolittle?
into...
Do they talk back?
Yeah, but that's a fake TV show.
No, but they actually understand you. It's you're like, hey, I know you need to pee. I'm gonna go open the door. Just calm down. They'll be like, oh, all right. They understand what you're telling them.
In whatever way that
They
that
still
works.
are. They're not your slave, but you can reason with them to some extent. You can have a conversation, but if you were to just walk into any dog show Those like super well trained dogs, you could just do the whole thing without the leash or doing commands. You could just talk to them and be like, "Go jump on the thing. Now stare at the judge and don't move for like a minute, and you'll get a bunch of cheese."
But
Like,
do you see what I'm saying?
Like, don't be worried when they fondle your balls. It's okay. It's okay. They're just gonna touch them
they do. Do they touch them on those things?
firmly. Oh, hey, I have another fact.
Go for it.
Ta-da! Nudicles. I'm just
That's a
gonna throw that
word, but
out
you
there.
have to like say more.
You gotta define.
No, I know. I want the dramatic effect. There are a couple people who might know that word. So there are people who neuter their dogs and then have testicle implants put into their ball sacks so that it looks like they have not been neutered. Boom.
That is insane. How
First
much
of all,
more does
why?
that cost in terms of the surgery?
But yeah, I was gonna say. Second of all, what's the cost for that?
Like, if money's not an issue, like, does it make the dog feel better?
Literally no. I mean, probably if anything, the opposite, because there'd be a chronic, like, low, grumbling, inflammatory response to them. I would imagine, but no. I mean, they're fine. Actually, probably not. I mean, they're probably made to be like steel, but it's for the humans.
Do they clink?
But like, what? I don't know any humans
Just like real
who
balls,
like
yeah.
necessarily want
If they're
to
steel.
hear. I want to see, like, do they get like some sort of like masculinity problems by not seeing like a swinging pair of balls from their dog?
No, it probably that makes them look more behaved if they have their balls still and they have all this testosterone, but they're super calm and docile, right?
I don't know.
No, it's yeah, like
Value for
it's
breeding.
like Luke was saying. It's literally about the humans that there's so many men that walk in. I mean, I don't deal with people, but that walk in and are just like, I'm not neutering my dog because I wouldn't cut off my balls, and you're just like, it's not
You're
a
like, well,
it's
you
not
don't
an
have
issue,
like
man.
sharp teeth that you might accidentally use to like bite a house guest.
Yeah, or
I mean,
it's
you
that
do,
dogs
but,
only
like,
live
it's
to be like
harder.
10 years. They're
But you wouldn't do that.
I generally wouldn't.
You don't
flipping
know
on
me.
Nice.
That's what she said.
I didn't hear it. Oh, I guess we don't. Audio. I thought we were.
nudicles though. Look it up. You can look at pictures
Cara told
of
us
it.
about dog testicle implants, basically.
Oh, they put like golf balls in, right?
They're like plastic shits.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
they're like, yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
Cara, when we decided to talk about dogs, I got reminded of this show I saw like many years ago on PBS called like Nova Science Now.
I've seen it.
And this particular series was one of the episodes was on animal intelligence or whatever the topic was, something like that. And there's this dog. I guess there's a few of them. They're all border collies, but the one that seemed to be the most famous had memorized over 1,000 toy names.
Yeah, there's one that purportedly can count also, that like can do arithmetic.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like the guy, he's like, I believe that he's Southern, so you might jive with him, Luke, with your accent and all.
Soon.
But he has this. I think it's either a collie. It's some type of herding dog. It's either a collie or a
What's the other type of?
something like that.
So this dog, they basically had, I think it was like 1,000, almost 1,100 different toys, and they would take samples of like 30 of them or 20 of them, like randomly from this pile of 1,000 toys, and they all had unique names. And this dog basically scores 100%, almost 100% of the time, and they would even include new toys into the mix. I'll post this video in the links.
Yeah.
They would include new toys and say, go get Oscar, go get Oscar. And now this dog had never learned any tag of Oscar applying to a toy.
I think they think in hashtags.
And it goes over, and there's all the toys it knows, and then there's one toy that's an unknown. And if you ask it to get the toys it knows, it goes over, right to the toy, brings it back. This one, it looks around, you can feel the thinking, whatever you call that.
Right.
And then it sees all the toys it already knows, and it finds one that is the unknown, grabs it and brings it back. And then they go, who's a good boy? This is Oscar, Oscar. And the dog like gets his nose all up in it and smells it. And
He's
now
like, yeah, Oscar.
that's forever Oscar, you know?
Right.
1,000, over
Yeah,
1,000.
Dogs, there are dogs that have like the. This is terrible. Have like certain intelligence parameters that are up to like 7-year-olds. I mean, even if Dutch was like, I didn't even spend that much time with him because I went away to college. But even the time that I was with him, like, he knew definitely over 200 words. Worf is definitely, he's only a year old, but he's getting up there. I mean, Dutch knew what an egg was versus like salad on the words.
But Cara, I think this gets into a larger issue of just like dogs tend to reflect their owners, you know? And like cool owners like tend to have cool dogs. Like
That checks out. But that's the same thing with children. Like cool
I
people
know,
tend to
I'm
have
saying
cool children.
there's something there.
There's definitely something there. Yeah, it's like of course you would.
Well,
I love
think
your
it really
dog,
depends.
Cara, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Like you could have found a house that would raise that dog to be a complete dick, you know?
Well, I think that it might be not necessarily how cool, but like how how woke the owner is, because like it's kind of what we were talking.
Self-aware,
Sorry.
probably.
Well, no, just like I have a pit bull. He's a year and a half old, and he's super high energy. So we do at least a walk for an hour, 2 hours a day, and we train for at least half an hour a day.
Yeah, but
so
so many
that
people
allows
don't
him
do
to be
that
chill
with
as
their dog.
fuck.
So many people
Yeah,
don't bother
and so
to
like
walk
people
them.
who are more aware in certain aspects of their life, right, might be able to be more chill in other aspects of their life.
There's a correlation.
Because they take care of what needs to be taken care of.
Th-
Maybe not. I mean, there are people who like get dogs that are great, but you know, like you guys were saying before about behavior issues, it really is about like how much you activate their minds. You know, going back to like where they do what they're supposed to, and if not, like do you give them something else to entertain them? And if that's why like so many dogs end up in shelters, which is tragic. Like if you just fucking train your dog and spend time with it doing mental shit, which is way more important than the physical exercise, you're gonna have a better dog.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think what you're saying is that there's a correlation between the type of person that like is aware of their dog and its needs, and the type of person that's just generally aware of their own life and their own life's needs. So like there's a correlation between general coolness of person and life status and how they raise a dog.
Indeed.
How would
I mean, at least in the circles that I run
how would the
in,
Russians,
but, you know,
Johnny? How would the Russians say that?
Say what?
Da.
It's Soviet. I think we're off the rails now.
Yeah. Well,
No, I mean,
Soviet
we
Russia.
are officially
Dog.
2 hours in, so.
Well, so we have two choices. We can either try to wrap this up real quick, or we try to hit 2.5 hours and make it into a two-parter.
Oh, that's tough. Do we have enough sway in either half to make it a two-parter?
I don't know.
I think we
Either
should
way,
end
we
it-
got to wrap up this Would You Rather.
I say rather.
Yeah.
No, I say would you.
We could also just hang up this call, and
That's
this
not
is
how it works.
episode dogs, and then
And keep
we
talking?
and then we keep talking,
Yeah, let's do
and
that.
that goes to Patreon only.
Let's do. Bam. Drunk
They
tank.
deserve it.
Drunk tank,
Those
ladies
So
and
you know what
gentlemen.
just happened
awaiting
is the first
Patreon.
real-time drunk tank was just announced.
It was
Joe,
just announced.
Tell the listeners what a drunk tank is, because they were already in a thunk tank.
So
What
first,
is a drunk tank?
So first of all, I would like to thank
Oh
you.
my God, it's happening. Recording level 85. That's exactly what you need to get into the drunk tank.
We're there. I would like to first and foremost thank you all for listening so far. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without your support of liking, sharing, and subscribing.
But how do they listen to the drunk tank?
I'm about to get to that.
Oh.
And I'm hyping it, Luke. Give me a
Wait,
second.
Joe,
God damn it.
Could I explain since I'm new here?
What?
What?
Could I explain since I'm new here?
Yes. Go for it.
Okay, so the way to get the drunk tank is
Oh, shit.
What a son of a dick.
Well, that's fine. So we have to tell them.
Okay,
'Cause
I'll tell them.
This is how the podcast ends.
That's true.
Although they did just beat us.
They totally beat us.
Johnny used a Cara to sneak up on us.
They totally won. I don't like it.
If this is your first episode with us, there's always like a battle at. We know. When
I
it's
won
about to end.
last episode. Yeah.
Last time Joe won
Right.
when I was in the.
But that's
South.
the fun. Everybody else wins.
Well, I mean, the game is how can you like sneak up, hanging up on the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out like that it's like any kind of warfare, it gets like more and more layers deep.
Yeah, it gets very
Like Johnny
psychological
just
very
used
quickly.
Cara, I think.
He used her as like a proxy war, basically.
Right. But
on
Joe,
us.
we better wrap
Yeah.
this up because we got to call them back into a drunk tank.
That's true.
So that means Cara never described what a drunk tank
So
was.
I'm going to do it. So again, thank you for listening so far. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. All that great stuff. Like, share, and subscribe, as I always say. And if you subscribe as a Patreon, again, any amount.
$1.
$1 an
Not
episode.
any amount, but like
Well,
$1.
any amount of being a Patreon subscriber, correct. So $1 an episode, $2 an episode. There are bonuses if you go, as per our Patreons already, are going into the higher tiers of $5 an episode.
You get crazy shit.
You
Also,
will get
think
rewards.
We'll think of cooler shit as we go.
We will think of cooler shit, and we will reward you with that. But we would appreciate any amount of contribution, and in order to get the drunk tanks, which are part of at least minimum $1 per episode contribution, come on, people. $1. That's 4 quarters, 10 dimes, 20-something nickels, 100 pennies.
The math is whatever it is, but the main idea
nothing.
is like once in a while, we have just the right kind of beer with just the right vibe at the end of an episode.
And we're there right now.
Yeah, we're
then
here. We spontaneously decide.
Oh, we're
Johnny's
getting calls back.
Now.
All right.
We decide to do a drunk tank, and that's what this is going to be.
And we'll see you on the drunk tank.
Thanks for listening, and hopefully see you on the drunk tank.
Thank you.
Peace.
Oh shit, but we never wrapped up the Would You Rather, I just realized. Oh shit. Oh well, you're gonna have to tune into the drunk tank then, motherfuckers. It's $1 ever. It's not like you have to keep giving us $1. Just give us $1 once, and you get all the drunk tank stuff. So, find out how they feel about dogs and whether they want to be able to have them understood by them.
We'll even take those dollars that are like barely recognizable by the bank. You know, those ones that are like 3/4 ripped, but the bank's like, I think this might be written on too much. We'll take that.
That's right. All right, peace, bitches.